So you're going to give me a thumbs up when I'm.
I'll give you a thumbs up. It's yeah, I think we are live.
Okay.
Yes, well, please proceed.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Here we're all here to listen to some excellent Hari Katha on the subject of Sri Rupa Goswami. This is the third year that we've been doing this, and I believe that we are, in addition to a long-standing conference that was started by Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, that's been overseen by Manjari Talent. And so we're going to just try to plug into that, pick up the energy of that. We've got some amazing speakers for the whole, I guess we're here for 3 days. And we'll be here tonight for about 3 hours. So it's 1800 or 6 p.m. GMT. So we'll be going to, I guess, just what, about 9:30? Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Great. So I'd like to offer my respectful obeisances to all the assembled devotees, the devotees who are not yet here but will gradually filter in, and to everyone who will watch this recording in the future. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaudavani Pacharine Nivasesha Sunyavari Paskatya Deshatarine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikai Priyatmane Shri Shima Bhaktivedanta Narayani Tinamine. Gurudeva Gaurachandaya Radhikai Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavindam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatubhascha, Kripa Sindhubhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Okay, just to remind everybody, we are live streaming, so we're out in the big internet public. And I believe that we're going to invite Abhay Kurana to enter the room. I don't know that I see Abhay in the room. Is she here? He, I'm sorry, he.
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm here.
Oh, Abhay Charan. Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
They wrote your name in a completely different way in which you present it. Okay. Well, Prabhu, thank you and apologies for that. Over to you. And I guess you'll be giving us some kirtan, making the space sacred for us. And then we'll be having Charu Chandrika Didi come in at about 6:10. So in about 7-8 minutes from now. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you all Vaishnavas. Dandavad pranams. We'll start with Jai Dwani and short kirtan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandhari Bhikiridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Radha Govinda Radha Sham Sundar Ju Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtom Vishnupad Astos Tattara Sata Shishi Mad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Raj Srila Gurudeva Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishtom Vishnupad Asto Tarasata Shishi Mad Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Prishnom Vishnupad Asto Tarasata Shishi Mad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Prishnom Vishnupad Asto Tarasata Shishi Mad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Srila Param Gurudeva Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Prishnom Vishnupad Asto Tarasata Shishi Mad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sab Parikar Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Param Bhagavat Pravar Srila Gokishore Daswari Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Srila Satchinanda Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Gauri Vedanta Acharya Shri Baladev Vijabhushan Prabhu Ki Jai. Rasik Shramani Shri Vishnath Chakravarti Thakur Pad Ki Jai. Shri Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu Troy Ki Jai. Shri Krishnas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damara Rajanam Nandari Shri Gaur Parshad Brinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Shri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Vadas Madhvaka Shri Mandala Ki Jai. Shri Shama Kunda Radha Kunya Jumananganga Tasya Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Sarvabhigna Vinashakari Shri Nrsingadev Bhagavan Ki Jai. Bhakta Prabha Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Shri Bhadra Sudarshan Chakraju Ki Jai. Charidam Chariyacharya Chari Sampradaya Ki Jai. Tribhuvana Mangala Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. So for Kirtan, I was thinking to sing Sri Sad Goswami Astakam of Sri Srinivasa Acharya. I have the PDF open, and on the PDF, I think this is of the latest book. It's page 264, and it begins Krishnot Kirtana Ghana Nartana, if anyone would like to look it up and follow along. My sound is coming okay? Coming through okay, Prabhus?
Everything is fine, Prabhu.
Okay.
Thank you.
Krishnat Kirtana Ghana Nartana Paro Premamritam Bhanidhi Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Priya Karo Nirma Sarabhujito Shri Chaitanya Kripa Bharo Bhuvi Bhuva Bharavahantarako Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Nana Shastra Vicharanai Nipuno Sadharma Samstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Mano Sharanya Karo Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nande Namataliko Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Shri Gauranga Gunanubharnana Vido Shraddha Samridhyan Vito Papa Tapani Kirtano Tanubhitam Govinda Ganamritaye Anandam Buddhivardhanai Kanipuno Kaivalya Nishtarako Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Yakta Turnama Sheshamandalapati Shrenim Sadhatu Chavat Bhuttadhina Ganesha Ko Karunaya Kopina Kanta Shrito Gopi bhava rasamrita abdilahari Kalola magno muho Ante rupa sanatano raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Ujatu Kila Hangsa Sara Sagana Kirne Mayura Kule Nana Ratnani Bhadha Mula Bitapa Shri Yukta Vrindavane Radha Krishnam Aharnisham Prabhajato Jivartadhoyo Mudha Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Sankhya Purvakana Gana Natibhi Kalavasani Krito Nidrahara Viharakadi Vijito Chatyanta Dino Chayo Radha Krishna Gunasmiter Madhurima Nandena Sammohito Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Radha Kunda Tate Kalinda Tanaya Ire Chabang Sivate Preman Madhava Sada Sheshadasaya Grasto Pramatto Sadha Gayanto Chakada Harir Gunavaram Bhava Vibhuto Mudha Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako He Radhe Braja Devi ke chalalite He Nanda Suno Kuta Shri Govardhana Kalpa Papa Topale Kalindi Vanye Kuto Koshanta Viti Sarvato Brajapure Kedair Mahavibalo Bande Rupa Sanatano Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Bande Rupa Sanatano Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako.
Very nice, Prabhu. Thank you so much for that. I would like to invite Char Chandrakaditi to start her video. Are you there, Char Chandrakaditi? I can see
Yes.
I can see you're online.
Okay.
Oh, there you are. Okay, so great. Thank you. Please, please begin. You need no introduction. I think that everyone's been allocated 25 minutes for their presentation. Would you like me to give you a little notice a few minutes before the end, or what do you prefer?
Few minutes before the end. It's probably
Okay.
good, yeah.
Okay, great. Over to you then.
Omaginath Mandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshumlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchaka Padrubhyascha Kripa Sindhevacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Uve Gochandraya Radhikaye Kadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaye Tadavaya Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shivo Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Rama. So before I begin, I'd like to offer my humble, most respectful obeisances. I offer my heart-like flowers time and time again at the dust of the lotus feet of my Gurudev, Nityalila Vishnupada Aspartara Sada Shishi Mad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And at the same time, I offer my humble, most respectful obeisances time and time again at the dust of the lotus feet of my Param Gurudevs, Nityalila Vishnupada Aspartara Sada Shishi Mad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada, and Nityalila Vishnupada Aspartara Sada Shishi Mad Bhakti Vidyana Keshava Goswami Maharaj. Unto Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, whose disappearance day is coming up in a couple of days. And I also offer my humble, respectful obeisances unto all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis assembled here and who will be watching in the future. Dandavat pranams. Okay, so I wanted to speak on how Srila Rupa Goswami Pad was empowered by Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to fulfill his Manobhishtam, his innermost heart's desire. So as we know, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, he's said in this beautiful prayer, Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitanya Nipitare, Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svabhadam Titam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, who is established within this material world, the mission to fulfill the desire of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, give me shelter under his lotus feet? So, actually, the many times when Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestowed his special mercy upon Srila Rupa Goswami and empowered him to fulfill his Manobhishtam. So I wanted to enumerate some of those various times. So Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami Pad first met Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Ram Kaligram. And at that time, Mahaprabhu told them, oh, you know, everyone is wondering why I came here to Ram Kali. No one actually knows my real intention. Really, I had no business in coming to Bengal. And I came just to see you two brothers. Why? Because you are my eternal servants. You've been my servants birth after birth. So who are Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami? They are Lavanga Manjari and Sanatana Goswami, Lavanga Manjari, and Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari. So the first time Mahaprabhu wanted to bestow special mercy upon Srila Rupa Goswami was right here in Ram Kaligram, where Mahaprabhu, he placed his lotus hands on the heads of both Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami. And not only that, he placed his lotus feet on their heads, assuring them that Krishna would deliver them very soon. And after that, Mahaprabhu embraced them both. So after having received such mercy, means like the touch of Mahaprabhu's lotus hands, the touch of his lotus feet, his embrace, and blessings to be delivered very soon. Wasn't this enough to bless them their whole lives? But actually, no, not according to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that time, Mahaprabhu, he requested all the devotees present, like Nityananda, Haridas Thakur, Gadadhar Pandit, Srivas Pandit, Mukunda, Jagannanda, Vakeshwara, and others, to be very merciful upon these two brothers, Rupa and Sanatan, and deliver them. Then they touched the lotus feet of all the Vaishnavas and they received their mercy. So later, after visiting Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu finally came to Prayag, and Rupa Goswami had left home and had sent news to Sanatana Goswami that he was leaving with his younger brother Anupam to meet Mahaprabhu. So now we come to the second time that Mahaprabhu wanted just to bestow special mercy upon Rupa Goswami. So at that time, Rupa Goswami arrived in Prayag and met with Mahaprabhu. So then also Mahaprabhu embraced Rupa Goswami and Anupam and mercifully placed his lotus feet on their heads. So again, Rupa Goswami got Mahaprabhu's direct mercy in this way. So there at Dashvamedha Ghat in Prayag, Mahaprabhu told Rupa Goswami, Prapra Sanyagavi Bhakti Rasa Sindhu. Oh, this ocean of Bhakti Ras is so large that no one can estimate its length and breadth. And then he said, but just to help you taste it, I'm describing only one drop. However, this one drop from that ocean of Bhakti Ras was sufficient to inundate millions upon millions of universes. Gurudev said like this. So Mahaprabhu, he taught Rupa Goswami all Tapti Siddhanta he'd heard from Ramananda Roy in Godavari, and he empowered him to understand. How did he empower him? Mahaprabhu actually entered the heart of Rupa Goswami and imbued perfect understanding of Krishna Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, and Bhakti Ras, as well as the Madhurya Ras of Radha and Krishna. So after instructing Rupa Goswami Dashvamedha Ghat in Prayag for 10 days, Mahaprabhu ordered him to go to Vrindavan and told him that later he could meet him in Puri. So after spending some time in Vrindavan, then later Rupa Goswami went to meet Mahaprabhu in Puri. And when he arrived, he went straight to the Bhajan Kutir of Haridas Thakur, which we know as Siddhava Courts. So then Mahaprabhu came there and he met with Rupa Goswami, introduced all the devotees to Rupa Goswami, and Shivu offered his pranams to all the Vaishnavas, and they all embraced him. So now we come to the third time that Mahaprabhu wanted to bestow special mercy upon Rupa Goswami. So at that time, Mahaprabhu told Advaitacharya and Nityananda Prabhu to both show their wholehearted mercy to Rupa Goswami and bless him that so by your mercy, he will become completely empowered to fully describe pure Bhakti Ras according to my desire. And so they blessed him. So like this, Mahaprabhu was directly bestowing mercy upon Rupa Goswami and asking all his associates to bless him over and over again. So in this way, Rupa Goswami became the object of love and affection for all the devotees of the Lord, including all the Bengali Vaishnavas, the Rishon Vaishnavas, and others. So every day, Mahaprabhu, he would go to see Rupa Goswami and bring him and Haridas Thakur Jagannath Mahaprasad. And then he would stay and talk for some time with them. So Mahaprabhu, he specifically empowered Srila Rupa Goswami to write transcendental literatures revealing Mahaprabhu's teachings regarding Bhakti Ras and Parakya Ras. This. So when Rupa Goswami was in Vrindavan, he thought, in order to fulfill the innermost heart's desire of Mahaprabhu, I'll write a drama. And in that drama, I'll explain the beauty of the pastimes of meetings of Radha and Krishna in Braj. And also I'll describe the pastimes of separation when Krishna leaves to go to Mathura and Dwarka. So on his way to Jagannath Puri, he came to a village known as Satyabhamapura. This is when he was going to Puri to meet with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this village of Satyabhamapura, he rested under a tree, and at that time, a celestially beautiful lady came before him and told him, "Oh, I want you to write a separate drama about me. And by my mercy, it will be extraordinarily beautiful." So when Rupa Goswami woke up, he realized that lady was none other than Satyabhama herself. And he thought, although I was originally going to write one drama about all the pastimes of Krishna and Braj, as well as in Mathura and Dwarka, Satyabhama directly ordered me to write a separate drama for her. So then Rupa Goswami arrived in Puri, and one day Mahaprabhu, he went to Rupa Goswami and told him, "Don't try to take Krishna out of Vrindavan, for he doesn't go anywhere else at any time." Then Mahaprabhu left, and Rupa Goswami was quite surprised. He thought, "Oh, now I understand that Satyabhama's order has been confirmed by Mahaprabhu himself. Now I must write two separate works." So he wrote Vidagdha Madhav about Krishna's Braj Leela, and Lalita Madhav about Krishna's Mathura and Dwarka Leela, just to show that Brajendrananda and Shyama Sundar doesn't take one step outside of the Braj. So Gurudev, he said, why did Mahaprabhu order Rupa Goswami to do this? It's a very deep Siddhant. Actually, Sri Kavi Karnapur, he composed Sri Ananda Vrindavan Champu. And in that book, he described Krishna's Jamma Leela, right up to Ras Leela, including Julan Yatra. And then he stopped there, and he didn't go any further. So he didn't describe about Krishna going to Mathura and Dwarka. Why? Because for pure devotees, the separation mood, Krishna is very difficult to tolerate. He was thinking, oh, my Swamini, Srimati Radhika cannot tolerate this separation, so therefore I won't write about it. However, Mahaprabhu empowered Rupa Goswami to write about it, but in a separate drama. As Mahaprabhu, he wanted that both the moods of meeting and separation be manifest through the writings of Srila Rupa Goswami. Why? As without the mood of separation, the mood of meeting cannot be nourished, and its sweetness cannot be relished. So for this reason, it was important that Rupa Goswami write about both meeting and separation of Radha and Krishna. So then later, at the time of Rath Yatra, then Rupa Goswami saw Mahaprabhu chanting and dancing before the Rath in Jagannath in great ecstasy. And in ecstasy, Mahaprabhu began reciting this verse in front of the Rath. This famous verse, Ya Pomra Harasa Evahi Varasta Eva Chaitra Shapas. Actually, this is a mundane poem about a lady reminiscing about the time that she was enjoying in her youth before she was married. So it's explaining that very personality who stole away my heart during my youth is now again my master. The same beautiful moonlit nights in spring are here, the same fragrant of malati flowers, and the sweet breezes blowing for the Gadamba forest are also here. And I'm the same lover, yet my mind is not happy in this place. I'm very eager to go back to that place on the bank of the river under the Vadasi tree there. So when Mahaprabhu recited this verse, no one could understand the meaning. It was like a mundane love song. This is very unusual. So, however, its deep meaning was understood only by Sri Damodar and who else? Srila Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami immediately composed another verse describing the same meaning. And he wrote it on a palm leaf and he placed it on the roof of the thatched cottage where he was staying near Haridas Thakur. And then he went to the ocean to take bath. So then in the meantime, Mahaprabhu came there to the Bhajan Kutir of Rupa Goswami, and upon entering, immediately saw this palm leaf on the roof, and he grabbed it and read that verse. So what was the verse? Soya Krishna Sachari Kushetra Manitas Tataham Sarada Tadidam Ubaya Sangama Sukham. My dear friend, now I've met my very old and dear friend Krishna on the field of Kurukshetra. I'm the same Radha, and now we are meeting here. Oh, it's very nice, very pleasant, but still I would like to go to the bank of the Yamuna, beneath the trees of the forest there, where I can hear the vibration of Krishna's sweet flute playing the fifth note. So after reading this verse, Mahaprabhu went into a really ecstatic mood. And just then, Rupa Goswami returned, and upon seeing Mahaprabhu, immediately paid his Dandavat pranams. So Mahaprabhu immediately got up and lovingly gave Rupa Goswami a mild little slap on his back. And he took him on his lap and he told him, my heart is very confidential. No one knows the deep meaning of this verse that I recited during Rath Yatra. So how could you understand my heart's confidential mood? So what was the confidential mood of Mahaprabhu actually? So Mahaprabhu is reciting this verse at Rath Yatra, but what did it reveal? It revealed the essence of Parakya Ras, of Radha and Krishna, which Rupa Goswami actually captured, and he revealed in his own composition by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So then the fourth time that Mahaprabhu wanted to bestow special mercy upon Rupa Goswami, this was at this time, Mahaprabhu, he blessed him profusely. And he took that verse and he later showed it to Sri Damodar. And he asked Sri Damodar, how is it that Rupa Goswami could understand my heart? And Sri Damodar said, oh, it must be that you have already bestowed your causeless mercy upon him. Otherwise, it's not possible without having received your special blessings. So Mahaprabhu said, yes. When I went to Prayag and met Rupa Goswami there, I could naturally understand that he was quite a bit candidate to understand the deep confidential mellows of Bhakti Ras. Therefore, I was so pleased with him, and I embraced him and empowered him to preach the essence of what I had taught him. So now I want you to please teach him further. So after Chaturmasha, Rupa Goswami remained in Jagannath Puri with Mahaprabhu. And one day, while Rupa Goswami was writing a book, then Mahaprabhu suddenly appeared and asked, "Oh, Rupa, what kind of book are you writing?" He saw on one of the palm leaves Rupa Goswami's writing, and he praised that writing. "Oh, the handwriting of Rupa Goswami is just like rows of pearls." So then Mahaprabhu, he began reading this one verse. Tande Tanda Vanira Timbatana Tanda Vilate Kana Koda Kadambani Gadite Kana Pudeviaspuyam. I don't know how much nectar the two syllables Krishna have produced. When the holy name of Krishna is chanted, it appears to dance within the mouth. And then we desire many, many mouths. And when this name enters the holes of the ears, we desire many millions of ears. And when Harinam dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and therefore all the senses become inert. So when Haridas Thakur heard this verse, then he became ecstatic, and he began to dance while praising its meaning. And he said, "Oh, one can only learn about the beauty and sweetness and divine position of holy names by hearing its glories from the mouths of pure devotees." So Mahaprabhu then embraced both Haridas Thakur and Rupa Goswami and then left.
Charu,
So the
just
next,
to give you a notice, you have a couple more minutes, please.
oh, because I'm looking at the time, and okay, so because I thought I started 20 minutes ago. Okay.
You start.
Okay, and then I'll try to quickly go. Then on the request of Mahaprabhu, where are we up to? Okay, so then, Mahaprabhu, he embraced Haridas Thakur and Rupa Goswami and left. Then the next day, Mahaprabhu visited Rupa Goswami along with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Roy, and again asked Rupa Goswami to recite these verses. So Srup Damodar recited this Priya Soya verse, and Rupa Goswami recited the verse Tunde Tandavani Ratim. So when all the devotees heard these verses, they were completely astonished, and they understood that Mahaprabhu has bestowed his causeless mercy upon Rupa Goswami. So then Ramananda Roy asked Rupa Goswami so many questions about his new composition, Vidagdha Madhav and Lalita Madhav, and he asked him to recite the glories of his Ishtadev in his book. So then Rupa Goswami, he was embarrassed because it was about Mahaprabhu, who was directly there, but anyhow, he recited this verse, and so I'm not going to say the translation, we all know this. So then when Rupa Goswami, when Mahaprabhu heard this, then he disapproved of it because it was describing his personal glories. And Mahaprabhu said, "Oh, this is an exaggerated explanation." But all the devotees greatly appreciated this verse and expressed their gratitude to Rupa Goswami. So after hearing many verses from Vidagdha Madhav and Lalit Madhav from the mouth of Srila Rupa Goswami, then Ramananda Roy praised his super excellent poetic compositions like he had 1,000 mouths. And he said, "Oh, this is just like a shower of nectar coming upon the heart and entering the ears. So then the fifth time that Mahaprabhu wanted to bestow special mercy upon Rupa Goswami is that now when Mahaprabhu, he started praising Rupa Goswami's poetic compositions and requested all his personal associates to bless Rupa Goswami so that he might continue to describe Rajalila, which is full of very deep bards. So then Ramananda Roy, he said, oh, Mahaprabhu, it's your desire that these transcendental pastimes of Raj be composed in poetic literature for the world to see, as Rupa Goswami has been doing. And anyone who's empowered to describe Raj Leela in this way, like Rupa Goswami, will bring the entire world under your influence. So then Mahaprabhu, he embraced Rupa Goswami and asked him to offer prayers at lotus feet of all the devotees present. Advaita Charya, Nityananda Prabhu, and all the devotees again showered their causeless mercy upon Srila Rupa Goswami and embraced him. And all the Vaishnavas were amazed to see this special mercy of that Mahaprabhu had bestowed upon Rupa Goswami. So then, after Mahaprabhu left, Haridas Thakur said, oh, Rupa Goswami, there's no limit to your great good fortune. And it's amazing. Your writings are so deeply transcendental. Who can understand? So Rupa Goswami in humility said, actually, I don't know anything. The only transcendental words that I can utter are those which Mahaprabhu is making me speak. So like this, then for the sixth time, Mahaprabhu, he wanted to bestow special mercy upon Rupa Goswami. I'm finishing now. This is the last point.
Okay, yeah, I'm just saying, if you could wrap up, that would be great. We've got a line of, you're the first long line, so. Thank you.
Mahaprabhu said, now you should go to Vrindavan and write and preach transcendental literature about Bhakti Ras and excavate the lost holy places. So Mahaprabhu embraced Rupa Goswami, who then placed his lotus feet upon the head of Rupa Goswami once again. So I tried to enumerate how many times Mahaprabhu blessed Rupa Goswami, placing his hands on his head, his feet on his head, embracing him, asking all the Vaishnavas to bless him. And due to this, then Rupa Goswami was completely empowered to fulfill the Manobishtam, the innermost heart desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he actually compiled over 30 books revealing what Mahaprabhu came to give to this world. So I wanted to say a lot more. I had to really rush through that, but I know time is short and there's so many other speakers, like you said. So Srila Rupa Goswami Pada Ki Jai, Shri Satchidananda Hari Ki Jai, Shri Jai Gur Premanandi.
Thank you so much. Such a beautiful presentation. A lot in there in just a few minutes. So I'm sure you could talk and expound on the details a lot more. But what we're going to do now is we're going to invite Ramachandra Prabhu, very senior devotee, very close to Srila Gurudev, to come in and speak about the subject matter today, Srila Rupa Goswami. Ramachandra Prabhu, can you unmute your speaker, your mic?
Hare Krishna. Am I audible now?
You have 25 minutes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami iti namine Shri Krishna Leela Katane Sudaksham Odare Madhure Gunesha Yuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tamam Shirsa Namami. First of all, I pay my innumerable obeisances at two lotus feet of my most beloved and revered Gurudev, Nitya Leela Vishnu Vishnupad Astuta Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. At the same time, I pay my innumerable obeisances to whole Guru Parampara and to all Vaishnava and Vaishnavis hearing me present here. I am very much honored to come in your assembly and to speak. And I am a little bit nervous also. I am nervous because though I am not in habit of speaking very long lectures, but for Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, I have to speak only in 25 minutes. I am very much confused. What should I not speak to find it out? How much I should reject and how much I should accept. So now at least I am remembering old days when we used to be with Srila Gurudev during these days. Ekadashi, Jhulan, next day, disappearance of Srila Rupa Goswami Pad. And Srila Gurudev used to organize 3-4 days Vidyut Sabha, assembly of very learned scholars, very learned scholars in Vrindavan, Srila Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Math. I have attended many such programs. So many scholars used to come. They will speak so many things. And Indian scholars and also some Western speakers and Srila Gurudev's disciple, Pujpad Bhaktivedanta Tirath Maharaj, Pujpad Bhaktivedanta Madha Maharaj, etc. And in the end, Srila Gurudev will speak. Though everyone spoke so elaborately about Srila Rupa Goswami, so many things about Srila Rupa Goswami, but when Gurudev used to finish that program with his class, he used to serve extraordinary things to all the assembly, wonderful things about Srila Rupa Goswami. I remember we used to be very much attentive to hear the katha of Achyut Bhatt. He used to speak some long katha, but with very dense katha. And Srila Gurudev many times corrected him also. He was so deep with Srila Rupa Goswami. And he says, this is our proud, we are Rupanuga. So we should know who is Rupa Anuga. What is Rupanuga? There are 84 lakhs species. I am speaking in Hindi style. 100,000, I don't know what to say, but in Hindi we speak lakhs, 84 lakhs species, out of which 4 lakhs is 400,000 species are human species, human beings. So many kinds of human beings, and out of it, most of them are Yavan, Chandal, outcasted from Varna Ashram Dharma. Only a few who observe Vedic philosophy. And out of the Ji? Excuse me?
I
So,
don't, go ahead, Prabhu. Sorry for the disturbance. Go ahead, Prabhu. You have to unmute your mic, please.
hello, Hare Krishna. Now I am audible?
Yes, you are. Thank you.
I am very much pleased to see you also. I am getting some power from you from so much distance.
I'm enjoying your katha. Please carry on.
You always enjoy everyone's katha. I know it. So, out of so many human beings who follow Vedic culture, there are very rare who believe that Lord has form. They can come in Karam Kand, and they are very rare who are devotees, who are Vaishnavas. And there are so many Vaishnavas. Out of those Vaishnavas also, some are devotees of Narayan, some are devotees of Ram. They are doing Vedic Bhakti. Those who become interested in Krishna, they are very rare. Very, very rare. And Krishna himself says this thing in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And also, those who worship Krishna, most of them, they worship Dwarkadish Krishna. Krishna who spoke Srimad Bhagavad Gita. But those who really worship Braj Krishna in Braj Dham, then he is very, very rare and very advanced. They are called Raganuga devotees. And among them who want to serve Radharani, to become her Palidasi, they are known as Rupanuga. So a statement of Srila Gurudev that all devotees are not Rupanuga, Raganuga. Those who worship because of awe and reverence of the scriptures with some fear, they are Vedic devotees, Vedic Bhakt. They will go to Vaikuntha. But those who worship with rag, following some ragatmic devotees of Brajadam, they are Raganuga. All Rupanugas are Raganuga. But all Raganuga are not Rupanuga. And we are Rupanuga. Srila Gurudev claimed we are Rupanuga. Anuga means to follow. We follow Srila Rupa Goswami. We follow everything of Srila Rupa Goswami. What is that? That makes us Rupanuga. So Srila Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari, Palidasi of Radharani. And Rupa Goswami, in the pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is Rupa Goswami, a male. Just as Didi told before, empowered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Many times Srila Gurudev says, how come he can get empowered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, and he wants to get the mood of Radharani. So this is also external, that he is getting power from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Rupa Manjari. Now, why Rupa Manjari? We have to follow them. Why it is the best? Why it is best? It is best because the purpose of spiritual life, purpose of each and every soul is to serve Krishna. To serve Krishna means to please Krishna. It is just to give water to the root. If we please Krishna, automatically we will be pleased. Now we have to see that in which way Krishna will be pleased more and more. In the Shant Bhav, in the mood of Shant, I think everyone must be knowing it, neutral mood. Krishna gets pleased but little bit. In a Dasya Bhav, servile mood, like Hanuman, Ram and Krishna, they are pleased more than Shant Bhav. In Vatsalya Bhav, Sakhya Bhav, Krishna is more pleased. And in Vatsalya Bhav, he is pleased the most, not most still. It seems most. And many Indians, they worship Laddu Gopal in Vatsalya mood. But Krishna is pleased by gopis most. He relishes Ras Leela most. And out of all the gopis, here is Radharani, whose love to Krishna pleases him most. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhav Daite Gokul Taruni Mandal Mahite. She is the most beloved and loving gopi out of all the gopis in the Braj. Can we please Krishna in the mood of Radharani? Can we please Krishna in the mood of gopis? No. Krishna is pleased most by Radharani. We cannot become Radharani. We cannot please him. What can we do then? If we please Radharani, if we arrange meeting of Radha with Krishna, and that pleases Krishna to the highest extent, and that pleasure of Krishna becomes multiple more in the heart of Radharani. It transfers from Krishna to Radharani. And those who love Radharani, those who serve Radharani, those who are in the state of Manjari of Radharani, they get the same enjoyment which Radharani is getting. Here is the crux, that by loving someone directly Krishna, we cannot please Krishna so much. If we love Radharani and if we arrange a meeting of Radharani with Krishna, this will please Krishna the topmost, highest. And then it will come in the heart of Radharani, the pleasure, that much amount of pleasure, so much that Krishna becomes greedy to know how much Radharani is enjoying this pleasure. And he becomes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that pleasure is transmitted in the heart of Manjaris. And out of all Manjaris, Rupa Manjari is the highest, topmost. And that Manjari, Rupa Manjari, if we follow her, then we become Rupanuga. So we have to become Rupanuga. But how can we do it? How can it be attained, then we have to take shelter of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Manjari gives us mood, bhav. In this way, we have to please Krishna. How we are pleasing Krishna? By serving Radharani. How much serving Radharani? By tuning our heart, by synchronizing our heart with Radharani's heart. Then only her pleasure will come in our heart. This is the mood of Manjari. This is manifested by Gaudiya Sampradaya, by Rupa Goswami. We have, what is the topmost highest goal of the life? There is no above than this. This is highest. Where we can get is, that is the Rupa Goswami is telling the method. He is explaining we have to do bhakti. What is bhakti? Anya bhilashita shunyam jnana karam adyanavritam anukulen Krishna anushilanam bhakti uttama. The topmost bhakti is the definition. This is the definition we have to follow. We have to become selfless. We have to become without any desire. Annabhilashita shunya. Then it can be possible. Then we have to take the shelter of Updeshamrit. This is the process. Anukulen Krishna Anushilanam, by our body, by our mind, by our senses, always trying to please Krishna. This is bhakti. Without getting entrapped by karma and jnana. This is Shuddha bhakti, pure bhakti. How can it will come? It will come by Shravan Kirtan, by associating with those devotees who are having same mood. That is called Sojatiye Ashay Snigd Vaishnavas, who have the same mood. Sojatiye. That is of Manjari Bhav. That was our Gurudev. Nitya Leela Pravishtam Vishnupad Astota Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. He had this mood and he was expert in transmitting this mood, in telling this mood to everyone. So we have to hear from them. Shravan Kirtan Smaran. And Srila Gurudev always insisted, and I have heard today his small clip, it has come. We are Rupa Nuga. If we will not read Ujjwal Neelmani and Vilap Kusmanjali and such type of his mood of Srila Rupa Goswami, how can we become Rupa Nuga? Just by brooming the temple, we cannot become Rupa Nuga. We have to step into the mood of these Goswamis. We have to try to follow what the way they pray. Who pray? Not Rupa Manjari. Rupa Manjari is directly serving to Radharani. But how Rupa Goswami is praying? He has written so many books. Shri Karpanye Panjika. He has written Shri Chatu Pushpanjali. He has written Ujjwal Neelmani. And Didi was saying Vidagd Madhav, this and this. But in these books, he has made prayers, wonderful prayers. Those prayers should be our prayers. We have to step into those prayers. Oh Radhe, when Shri Krishna will be decorating you with different fragranted flowers, Madhavi Pushpa, and at that time, by the touch of lotus hands of Krishna, you will be exhibiting Asht Satvik Bhav. And those bhav will really make you tremble And especially you will be sweating because of the touch of Krishna. When the time will come, I will get an opportunity to fan you with the tal patra so that I can dry up your sweating. A desire, a begging to serve because of love. And this type of desires and prayers, this is the mood of Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami, this is the prayer of Sri Karpanye Panjika. And one prayer in which it is from Sri Chatu Pushpanjali. He says, I want, O Yugal, O Radha Krishna, I pray to both of you. Only one thing I want from you, and that is your seva. So this is the keen desire of Srila Rupa Goswami. In his prayer, he is directly praying to Radha Krishna Yugal that I only want that I should be able to serve you. And you are very merciful. Please give this seva to me. And by keep on doing such type of prayers continuously, regularly, we will step into that mood also. First, we will do from our lips only. It will be utterance maybe, but if we keep on doing it, then it will mean to us also. It will go in our heart. I remember Srila Gurudev always used to utter prayers, Tave Vasmin, Na Jivami, Teya Bina, Iti Vigyan, Radhe Tanne Mam Charananti Ke. And when he used to do these prayers, this is his deep heart feelings from Radharani. Please understand, I am yours, I am yours, I am yours. Tave Vasmin, Tave Vasmin, Tave Vasmin. Na Jivami Teya Bina, I will not live without you. Such type of keenness has to come in our heart. That will make us Rupanuga. That will make us Raganuga. And if we exhibit these things externally to entice the people, then it is hypocrisy. We have to be serious and we have to be very, very sincere without any hypocrisy and duplicity. These type of thoughts should come in our. And how will it come? If we do Shravan, Kirtan, Smaran, Vandan, we keep on listening such kathas from advanced devotees. And especially if we happen to get a chance to see those devotees who have received and achieved these feelings, then it is nothing like that. So there are so many things about Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, so many pastimes of Srila Rupa Goswami Pad. He was son of Kumar Dev, and he had his brother with him, Sanatan Goswami, and Anupam also. He came on this earth because he was associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in 1489 AD. And he stayed on this planet up to 1559 AD. That means he stayed here for about 70 years like that. My point is that if we see his life, he served a Mohammedan king, and from that Mohammedan king, where he served as Dabir Khas, he was minister of that Mohammedan king. He had a very royal life. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to him, met him first time at Ram Keli, he turned himself. He showed that how association changes our heart. And he left. He left his whole royal life and he came to Vrindavan. And here he started to living like as a pauper. See the difference, extent of difference. The royal life, a minister of king, and then a person just wearing a copen and living under the shade of a tree and saying, Ha Radhe, Ha Braj Devi Ke.
Hey,
Like this.
Prabhu, regrettably, this is the worst part of my job, my seva here. I have to ask if you could wrap it up.
I am already wrapped, Prabhu. Whenever you say, you can stop me.
I don't want to stop you, but we have a long line of speakers, and if you could
No
take
problem.
take
I understand. I
one
understand.
or 2 minutes to.
I respect the way you have arranged the things wonderfully. Yes. No, my point is that this is the style of Rupa Goswami, that how should, if we may be to the highest level of in material world, but we should from our heart give it up and become like Rupa Goswami. And his life was more than a sannyasi, more than a sannyasi. So the point is, this is the way then we can adopt that mode of Rupa Goswami, of Rupa Manjari, if we follow that line, that the way of life he led and the teachings he gave to us. Vacho Vegam, Mansa Krodha Vegam, that we have to control our senses, we have to control our thing, and then we have to serve. Anya Bilashita Shunyam Gyan Kanam Adi and Amrita. So many things he gave to us, which I am not able to put it here. And so many others will put it here, I am sure. But my point was that what is Manjari Bhav, what was Rupa Manjari Bhav, and why it is needed for us to acquire, and it is a topmost, and we are the most fortunate person. We have got a guru like Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, who has given us the highest spirituality of the universe. Hare Krishna. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Prabhu. You started out by saying that what do you leave out and what do you put in? I think you found the golden thread that gave us a very good overview of Rupa Goswami and who he is. And that golden thread, of course, led to the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev. So thank you so much for that. We could listen for a lot more time, but we don't have that time today. Hopefully soon sometime we'll hear you again. I want to invite Navalatika Dasi. I've looked on the names of the persons here in the room, but I can't see her. Can you make yourself known, Navalatika Didi? Oh, there you are. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams.
Dhanyavad. So please, you have 25 minutes to speak, and thank you very much for being here.
Okay, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. For me, it's for my own purification to speak and actually to repeat my Srila Gurudev's words on Srila Rupa Goswami. Omagyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namine. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranams to my most beloved spiritual master, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and also the old Sri Rupa Nuga Gaudiya Guru Parampara. I collect some verses and some classes and some short words, classes and teachings from our Srila Gurudev. And well, he was the actually I think that her heart and soul are the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami. So I think that he distilled the essence of those teachings in his nectarian books and all his life and all his preaching. What did Srila Rupa Goswami come to give? Because he understood the heart's desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was able to establish Mahaprabhu's mission on this earth. Srila Rupa Goswami explains all those teachings in this from Parakiya Bhav and Bhakti Ras to the characteristics of Uttama Bhakti and Prema Bhakti, and all are explained by him. So Srila Gurudev will say the verse 1 of the Prema Bhakti Chandrika of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. He will teach us this verse that Sri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadam Tikam. When will that Srila Rupa Goswami, who has fulfilled the innermost desire of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on this earth, give me shelter at his lotus feet? What is this innermost desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He will also explain to us. Anarpita charim chirat karuna vartinaho kalo samarpayito munatoshvala rasam swabhakti shriya hari purata sundaradu kadamba sandipitaha sadaka hridaye kandare suratuba sachinandanaha. May Sri Sachinandana Gaura Hari, resplendent with the radiance of molten gold, manifest himself within your heart. It had been a long time that he had not bestowed that most excellent, exalted, radiant conjugal mellow, Vishwala Rasa, on the world, and so he has mercifully descended in the age of Kali to bestow the wealth of devotional service unto himself, Swabhakti. So Srila Gurudev in his book, the Pinnacle of Devotion, the highest devotion in this part, he explains that Anarpita Charim Karyuna Vartinaha Kalo is that he's saying, please note in your heart that all of our Guru Paramparacharyas were Raganuga Vaishnavas, and they were especially Rupanuga Vaishnavas. None of them were practicing only Vaidhi Bhakti. They came to this world to give Raganuga Bhakti, but they saw that unfortunately there was a very large jungle of Mayavada, Karma, Jnana, Yoga, and Tapasya that they would first have to cut down. In the beginning, they had to cut down all these jungles, and much of their time was spent doing this. Their real aim was to give the nectar of Raja Prema to the jivas of this world, which we must have some eagerness. Once that greed has manifest, our path of the beloved Krishna consciousness will be clear. In another opportunity, our Gurudev will say in the explanation of the Pranam mantra of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, in this book called Gauravani Pracharine, in the chapter 7, he will explain, he will say, Rupanuga Bhaktas are only those who follow the same manner and mood in which Sri Rupa Manjari serves Radha and Krishna. Although Sri Rupa Manjari serves both Radha and Krishna, she is more inclined towards Srimati Radhika. Happy in the happiness of Srimati Radhika and suffering like her when she suffers, internally in their constitutional forms, the Rupa Nuga Bhaktas serve in the same mood as Sri Rupa Manjari, and externally they practice the same devotional activities as Rupa Goswami. Also, Srila Gurudev, in his walkings, in this book, and Walking with a Saint, he explained about also Sri Rupa Goswami and what is the why we call ourselves Rupa Nugas. This happened in Alachua in May 2008. So the question was, what is the speciality of those devotees in the line of Srila Rupa Goswami, the Rupa Nugas? Srila Gurudev will reply, in the form of Sri Rupa Manjari in Krishna Lila, Srila Rupa Goswami personally performs activities such as this. Tambularpanapada, Mardana Payoda, Navi Sharadivir, Vrindaryana Maheshwari Priyataya Yastu Shayanti Priya, Pranaprishta Sakiskulata Pikila Shankochita Bhumikaha, Keli Bhumi Shri Rupa Manjari Mukastada Sita Samshraye. Samshraye, this is in the Braja Vilasa Stava, verse 38. I take shelter of Rupa Manjari and the other maidservants of Srimati Radharani, the great queen of Vrindavan. Those maidservants perpetually satisfy her by their loving service, such as offering her betel nuts, massaging her feet, bringing her water, and arranging for her meetings with Lord Krishna. The Pranaprishta Sakis are dear to Srimati Radhika than her very life, but these maidservants are still more dear, because without feeling shy, they can enter the area where the divine couple enjoy their most confidential pastimes. Rupa Goswami is an internal associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Gaura Lila, and he is Rupa Manjari in Krishna's pastime. Rupa Manjari's service is Radha Dasya, the service of Srimati Radharani. Rupa Nuga devotees are followers of Rupa Goswami in his form as a personal associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and in his form as Rupa Manjari, the leader of the maidservants of Srimati Radhika. Sri Rupa Manjari's entire existence is dedicated to Srimati Radhika, and she sees Krishna as Radhika most beloved. Thus, when at any time Krishna comes to Radhika and performs some loving pastime with her, a Sanchari Bhav comes in Rupa Manjari's heart. For example, if Krishna embracing Radhika, Rupa Manjari thinks, that embrace is coming to me. Her rati for Radha and Krishna accords with this understanding. So Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Gurudev also will explain to us that if you follow the associates to whom you have greed in Raganuga Bhakti, but in this regard you will remember Rupa Goswami and Rupa Manjari. So Rupa Goswami, an associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his sadhaka form, and in his Siddha Swarup in Braja as Rupa Manjari. So that means to become a Rupa Nuga. Also in the Sri Upadeshamrita, Srila Gurudev will say that Srila Rupa Goswami has written in Sri Upadeshamrita, verse number 8, Tam Nama Rupa Charita Kirtananu Smrityo Kramena Rasana Manasini Yoja Tistambraje Tatanuragi Jananuga Mikalam Nayetka Kilam Iti Upadesharam. He said this verse tells the process the devotee will be in Vrindavan, the place of Krishna pastimes. Tam Nama, he will always chant the holy names, and Smarana, he will remember the pastimes connected with these particular names, such as Damodar, Rasa Vihari, and Radhakanta. Under the guidance of a Raganuga Bhakta, he will remember these important names. names that are connected with Radha. But under the Rupa Goswami, he will become a Rupa Nuga, and he will aspire to give service to Rupa Manjari. So also he will say, Rupa Nuga means to serve Srimati Radhika, nothing else. This nectar of instruction is just an outline, shedding some light on the subject. To enter this realm more deeply, you must hear and realize Soul explain all these things, and he can give you a deeper impression. Srila Rupa Goswami has written it for only this purpose. Not only for this Vacho Vegan, Manasaha Krodha Vegan. This is okay, this is all right, but this is not sufficient for us. We need to think, we need to improve in our bhakti, and how we will advance. We will advance, and he will explain in the slokas, also from Upadeshamrita, sloka 10, who is Krishna, Sri Krishna's dear most beloved, and in the verse, in the sloka 11, the glories of Sri Radhakunda, and he will explain this in the essence of all instructions, that we like to be called Rupa Nuga Vaishnavas. Why? Why do we want to be Rupa Nuga Vaishnavas and glorify also Srila Prabhupada and our all Guru Parampara as a Rupa Nuga? Because Srila Rupa Goswami appeared in this world most recently. He is Rupa Manjari and is so close to Krishna and Srimati Radhika. Following very closely in his footsteps as Rupa Nuga Vaishnava is the only way to attain that kind of closeness, that kind of intimacy, that kind of bhakti. Also, he will explain the difference between Raga Nuga and Rupa Nuga. Rupa Nuga means, especially Rupa Goswami's own mood. In his books, he has explained all kinds of rasa and all kinds of rati. But what was his special mood towards Krishna? How did he serve and in what mood? If anyone follows Rupa Goswami's mood, he will advance in Manjari Bhav, otherwise not. Balabhacharya is not Rupa Nuga, Swarup Damodar is not Rupa Nuga. What is he? Swarup Damodar himself is Lalita. He is Rupa Goswami's guru and Rupa serves under him, but yet Rupa has a special service to Srimati Radhika, which Lalita does not have. Swarup Damodar serves Srimati Radhika and Krishna equally, but with some partiality to Radhika. But Rupa is totally absorbed in serving Srimati Radhika. This is the mood of Rupa Goswami. If anyone has the mood of Yashoda Mai, if anyone has the mood of friends like Subal and Sridham, or if they have any mood of Lalita, Vishaka, Chitra, the Asta Sakis, they are not Rupa Nugas, they are Raga Nugas. They are superior to Rupa Goswami. Swarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda are superior to Rupa Goswami because they are Lalita and Vishaka. But we cannot follow Swarup Damodar and Rai Ramananda. We cannot follow Lalita and Vishaka. Their mood is separate. They are above our touch, and we are not aspiring for that mood. What do we want? The mood of Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari, always serving Srimati Radhika, happy in her happiness and unhappy in her distress. Sometimes Lalita can chastise Srimati Radhika. How? Durte vrajenda tanaye tanushustabhamyan madakshina bhavakalinki galagavaye tade giram shrinohitamiti shikshayanti devim gunaisu lalitam namami. Sri Lalita Astakam, verse 4. I offer pranam unto Sri Lalita Devi, the charming treasure house of all good qualities, who instructs Srimati Radhika in this way. O Kalankini, unchaste one, Radhe, listen to my good instructions, which are favored for you, Rajendranandana is very crafty Durta. Do not display your mood of gentle submission to him. Instead, in all circumstances, always be contrary. She can say, Durte Vrajendratanaye, don't have any link with Durta Vrajendranandana. To whom is she telling this? Radhika. Do not speak. When he comes, you should sit like this, frowning, and he wants to keep his head on your feet. You should move your feet away like this, not looking at him. Lalita can speak to Radhika like this. So he became so happy and took Sarudamodar like this in his hand. So Rupa Goswami will not do this, will not to do this. If Srimati Radhika is weeping, then Rupa Manjari also weep. She will do the same thing as Radhika. When Radhika is meeting with Krishna, then Rupa Manjari thinks that she's meeting with Krishna. If Srimati Radhika is unhappy, then Rupa Manjari will be unhappy equally. This is Rupa Nuga. So again, Srila Gurudev will say, who is a Rupa Nuga? Those who are actually following the mood of Rupa Goswami. Our acharyas are Rupa Nuga, not only Raga Nuga. So it's very, very important point, he will say. And also, we see how the Goswamis serve and aspire for the remanents as a service to Rupa Goswami or Rupa Manjari. Srila Jiva Goswami, for example, he was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dear associate. And also Srila Jiva Goswami will serve Srila Rupa Goswami like copying books by hand for him. And the credit for all the publishing of Rupa Goswami's literatures belongs to him. By publishing Rupa Goswami's literatures, he established his innermost desire. At that time, it was very difficult to publish books because the authors had to write all their books with their own pens as there were no printing presses. Jiva Goswami wrote down on his own handwriting every copy of every book of Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Jiva Goswami was the topmost learned person at that time, and he served the legacy of Srila Rupa Goswami. Because he was always with him, he was able to write many commentaries in pursuance of Rupa Nuga Vaishnavism. If it were not for him, all of Srila Rupa Goswami's book would have been lost. He also preached especially to Shyamananda Prabhu, Sri Narottam Das Thakur, and Srinivas Acharya to try to practice serving the cause of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, as he did. So also Srila Gurudev will tell us many verses, like, for example, in his book Raghavarma Chandrika, in the part of the first illumination, text 11, he will say that Srila Raghunath Das Goswami is the topmost follower of Srila Rupa Goswami. He is indeed a Rupa Nuga. So he declares in his Manasiksha, verse 9, Mad Ishana Tattva Vrajavipina Chandra, always remember Vrindavan Chandra Sri Krishna as the life and soul of my Swamini Sri Radhika. Also, Srila Gurudev will say, if you aspire to have this mood to attain the service, the remnants of the service of Sri Rupa Manjari, so you have to follow Srila Raghunath Das Goswami as Sri Rati Manjari, and how she prays to Rupa Manjari. He will say, Padavjayo Stavavina Varadasya Vahana Kadapi Samaya Keli Devi Yache Sakyayate Mama Namostu Namostu Nityam Dasayam Te Mama Rasostu Rasostu Satyam. O Goddess, I have no desire other than the topmost attainment of loving service to your lotus feet. I forever offer obeisances to the position of being your Saki, but may I relish being your maidservant. This is my vow declaration. So also in his Vilapa Kusumanjali, he will pray Shri Rupa Manjari Karachita Pada Padma Goshendra Nandana Bujarpita Mastakaya Haha Modata Kanaka Gauri Padarabindam Samambahanani Sanakaista Vakin Karisye. O Devi, as far as gold, your lotus feet are worshipped by Sri Rupa Manjari's hand as you rest your head against Krishna's arm. When will I receive the remnants of Rupa Manjari's service and joyfully and gently massage your lotus feet?
Affirmation of
And also in the Vilapa Kusumanjali, in the first verse, number 1, Raghunadas Goswami is explaining and also praying to Rupa Manjari, and he's saying, Tam Rupa Manjari Sakhi Pratita Puresmim Pumsha Parasya Vadanam Nahi Pashyasiti Bimbadare Kshatam Managata Bartrikaya Yate Vyadayikim Utachuka Pungavena. So, my dear Sakhi Rupa Manjari, you are well known in Varaja for not even looking at the face of any man other than your husband. Therefore, it is surprising that your lips, crimson like bimba fruits, have been beaten, even though your husband has not yet arrived. Has this been done by the best of parrots? So Srila Gurudev will explain, when Krishna drinks the nectar of Radha's lip, the resultant bhav is also reflected in the manjaris who become as if intoxicated. So Srila Gurudev will always make this emphasis that we need, first of all, follow Rupa Goswami in his sadhaka form, and also we need to apply ourselves for this sadhaka form, following Sri Upadeshamrita first, and then slowly we can proceed accordingly to our maturity to have this aspiration and all these prayers, because the ultimate object of our life is to become dasas in our sadhaka form and also in our siddha form. So Gurudev will give this treasure to us to follow from the verse 1, like Bacho Begam, control your speech, control your tongue, control your belly, control your genitals, control your mind, and control your anger, only because he wants to give us this precious gift. Only he wants for us to relish this service, this eternal service to Rupa Manjari, and through her to Srimati Radhika. So Gurudev will say also in Govardhan 2009, August, he will say, without being a Rupanuga, no one can attain that Gopi mood. So this is my Radha Pushpanjali to Srila Rupa Goswami, and I am really I express my eternal gratitude to Srila Gurudev, which I'm in debt eternally, and I'm aspiring to one day to fulfill his innermost desire, and that my life can be a service to him. Dandavat pranams.
Dandavat pranams, Didi. Thank you very much. What a beautiful selection of choice verses illuminating the beauty and the background of Rupa Goswami and Gurudev's teachings about him. So thank you very much. We're now going to invite Anada Dasi. I believe that we're going to have a little kirtan with her. And then we'll be moving on to Mahabhuti Prabhu. So Anada Dasi, are you in the room?
Yes, I'm here, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Over to you.
All right. Jai Shri Rupa Goswami ki Jai Ho. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, O Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, O Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, O Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, O Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, O Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, O Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, O Hare Hare. Jaya Rupa Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Jaya Rupa Goswami, Jaya Rupa Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Jaya Rupa Goswami, Jaya Rupa Goswami. Om Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Gaura Haribol, 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 Gaura Haribol. Jai Shri Rupa Goswami ki jai.
Jai. Thank you so much for that beautiful bhajan. Thank you. We're now going to invite Mahabodhi Prabhu to come and speak for 25 minutes. I don't know, Prabhu, if you are able to turn your picture so that we can see you in the vertical. I guess not. So just turn our heads and try to line up that way. Please.
Well, I can take off the picture of that.
Oh, no, don't leave it on. Leave it on. It's better if it's on. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
No, thank you. I really, really appreciated the previous speaker who gave a compendium of Srila Gurudev's comments on and selections on Rupa Goswami. I felt like that really represented Srila Gurudev to all of us. I much appreciate it. I don't even know her name, but I'm very appreciative for speaking.
Navalatika.
Navalatika. Dandavats. Om Agnya Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaye Chaksu unmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Vistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dati Swapadantikam Bancha Kopratubhyascha Kripasindu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Tesam Satchiduktanam Bhajatam Pratipurvakam Tadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mamapayanti Te. Offer my respectful obeisance on the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Offer the same Dandavat Pranams unto the lotus feet of my Shikshaguru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. I offer my humble Dandavat respectful obeisances unto Sri Rupa Goswami and pray for his causeless mercy. Dandavat Pranams to all the devotees. I will not come in front of you and pretend to be a scholar or very learned in our devotional science, but I'm thinking, what does this mean? What does Rupa Goswami mean to us, to me, in our pursuit of devotional service? Some of the previous speakers gave a lot of heartfelt and instructions on how one should perform this devotional service in the mood of Sri Rupa Goswami, this Rupanuga mood of the Parakya Ras is found in the loving moods of the Braja Gopis for Radha and Krishna, but specifically with the inclination to serve Srimati Radhika. So this was empowered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He came, he also had Nityananda and Haridas also trying, but one day Lord Chaitanya decided he was going to go to Vrindavan, and then on his way to Vrindavan he amassed tens of thousands of followers. Literally, imagine trying to go on a parikrama with tens of thousands of followers without any really planning or organization. And so on their way going toward Vrindavan, he veered off toward Bangladesh into this Ramakeli. And at that point in time, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they had already been serving for approximately 20 years under the Muslim King Hussein Shah. But Lord Chaitanya had mentioned that he specifically wanted to come to meet with Rupa and Sanatana Goswamis, which he renamed. So even though he went to Vrindavan, he actually had a wonderful conversation in the sense that Sanatana Goswami had actually given him a suggestion that you shouldn't go to Vrindavan with tens of thousands of followers. It's very difficult. So, but Lord Chaitanya came back after speaking to Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, and he had actually said to them that I have come to specifically to meet with you. And this meeting going to Vrindavan is to meet the sadhus there. If one hasn't listened to hear from the Harikatha and the association of sadhus, then one has not really experienced Vrindavan. And because he said this, that I have no need now to go to Vrindavan. I've already achieved Vrindavan by meeting with you two. And so when Rupa and Sanatana went back to the king, who was fearful because all of a sudden there's this great sadhu prophet, which, from his perspective, looking like that, with tens of thousands of devotee followers, and he didn't have enough army to resist if they were to come, even if he had paid them more that he couldn't have. So he was quite frightened. But Rupa Goswami had given him, says, no, he's full. When you come and visit, but the king didn't want to visit. He was fearful, that he would be seen as losing his religion and such. But Rupa Goswami said, no, he has no interest like that. So the king let him peacefully, and all the followers go to the land. Rupa Goswami was loved by everyone, not only the devotees, but as we learned in his younger life, in his visits in Vrindavan, all the different Brajabasis would all appreciate Srila Rupa Goswami for his mannerism, his fairness, and his devotion. And so many major kings came. Also, many other great preachers had come to visit. So Rupa Goswami was not only a great minister, also a great devotee, but he was empowered. And this is when Lord Chaitanya wanted his mission of this Ujjvala Bhakti to be spread. He empowered Rupa Goswami in Prayag and gave him, a taste of one drop of devotion, that he himself, that love that Rupa Goswami himself had for Radha and Krishna, because this is what Lord Chaitanya came to want to spread. For that, this special, as was explained by the previous speaker, this special connection, Ujjvala Ras connection with his service to Srimati Radhika, who sees Krishna as the beloved of her Swamini, but the primary interest is to serve Srimati Radhika. In fact, they're sold out to completely surrender and service like this. And so I think it's important for us to realize, those of us who are not very advanced in devotional service, and who are bereft of lots of spiritual intelligence, we need to understand what we've been given. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to spread this love of God. He wanted to spread it in this mood, this Parakiya Ras. And this, of course, outside of our tradition, everyone can't understand this at all. And many think, it's irreligious, that Krishna is sporting with others' wives. And so this whole concept of, this highest love, where Krishna is affiliating with his own energies, this was never explained before. This was never given before. And this highest form of love, as was explained by a prayer by Vishwanath Chakravarti, where Radha was having a dream, and in this dream she saw this great golden personality, and as she was explaining this dream to Krishna, Krishna then manifested as Kaustubha jewel. He actually manifested Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Leela that he was doing to Srimati Radhika. And she saw this, and then she could understand that, this is you, and then where am I? It seems I am feeling part of this same mood, except that. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya wanted to give this information and this mercy through Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he bestowed this on Rupa Goswami. Someone has to mute, please. So we are now a recipient, and this is what everyone before me has already said. We are now a recipient of the mercy of Sri Rupa Goswami, aka Rupa Manjari, through the disciplic succession of our Gaudiya Guru, who are all themselves Manjari followers of Srila Rupa Goswami. Specifically, in some of our cases, those that are Prabhupada's disciples and Gurudev Shiksha disciples, Srila Prabhupada, in the book from what's her name? Anyway, I just forgot my god sister's name for a second. Was explaining in that in Vrindavan, there was a resident that was living close off the wall of Sevakunj, and he would hear at night, different times at night, he said, like seeming like crying out. He thought was like animals that, you know, this in piteous cries. And this was our Srila Prabhupada in front of Rupa Goswami begging for his mercy prior to he came to the West, prior to he took sannyas, prior to starting any of his preaching programs. He was begging and serving at the samadhi of Sri Rupa Goswami, and he became empowered. So Srila Prabhupada, for the most part, by giving the summary study, Nectar Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and so many of the teachings of Rupa Goswami, trained those of in the West, and even those in India that hadn't affiliated with Gaudiya Math. You know, the first taste, the first understanding of what is this philosophy and who is Rupa Goswami. And our Srila Gurudev, as already mentioned by the previous speakers and Ramchari and others, he opened up the storehouse. It wasn't at great risk to his own personal reputation, at great risk to other Vaishnavas criticizing, oh, that you should not give this, is only when you're super advanced that you should be able to hear these. Srila Gurudev, by his mercy, he opened up the opportunities for us to hear and read, hear this Katis Kata, read the transcendental literatures, of which Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and many of the other acharyas, Raghunath Das Goswami, and so many, even Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisanta, many of the works that those of us in the West never had an opportunity to actually read, to actually hear. Daiva Dharma, all these things pointing out to this wonderful world of devotional service, wonderful world of spontaneous devotional service, wonderful world where unlimited bliss and happiness is there, where it's unimaginable in this world of pain and suffering and birth and death. So this opportunity that we've been given by the mercy of our acharyas is not ordinary. I mean, as I said many times, even on this format, that in the Mahabharata, it's mentioned that what is the most rarest thing is that one moment, one lava, 1/16th second of association of a pure devotee is the most rarest thing in this world. What to speak of those who have taken personal instructions, what to speak of those who have taken initiation, what to speak of those who had a chance to serve. All the advancement that I'm certain I can say that any little, which is probably very small, but any little advancement that we have made is only by the mercy that I have had the opportunity to come in contact with Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, and our Vaishnavas who have been kind upon this. So from the heart, you know, it's very important that we understand this mercy and that we live up toward it. And the science of that's been given to us. What does Narottam Das Thakur say? He said, if you want this, understand the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna, he said, you must serve the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami with intense eagerness. So there's no other opportunity or means. You can serve our Guru Varga, you can serve your gurus, which and beg for their mercy that somehow or other that they allow you also to take that association of Sri Rupa Goswami, that in our heart we have some aspiration for the service. Otherwise, if we do not serve it, just like the previous speaker had said, what is our chances? What is our chances of becoming, you know, a Radha Dasi, a maidservant in the extreme fortunate realm of Braj? It would be impossible. So often we think, oh, as a devotee, we think in terms of, oh, what, you know, is this good for me, profit, or I can be a head of a temple, or I can have this prestige, or I can have so many disciples. But these things are all for our own individual name, fame, profit, adoration, and distinction. But what is the symptom of those who are actually following Rupa Goswami? They have no personal desire for themselves. They have no interest in their own gratification or personal. Everything sold out 100% for the service of Srimati Radha and in the service of Krishna. So, here, those of us still entrapped in this material world have so many selfish desires and motives that, we become, amazed actually, even thinking, that we've solved some of them, only to find more weeds sprouted up within our, that we can see and prevent. So this is such a high, lofty desire that Srila Gurudev has given and Srila Prabhupada has given us. What is the goal of our bhakti? What is the sadhya? I mean, if we're practicing devotional service, but we don't know where we're going, it's just like driving on the freeway, on a highway, thinking you're going to go to New York, but you made the turn toward Los Angeles, and you're not going to get to New York, and you're going the wrong way. So in our cases, we've been given the goal, we've been given the means, we've been given the process, we've been given this sadhu sangha to be able to get this. What we have to supply is that supreme intense eagerness, that greed that Srila Gurudev has always talked about, that Vishwanath Chakravarti talks about, that Narottam Das Thakur talks about, and our Gaudiya line talks about, this great. And this, it's this devotional service we have to come to the association of Sri Rupa Goswami's and follow his doctrines on Prema Bhakti if we expect to make any kind of devotional mood toward loving Radha and Krishna. Now, he has written so many books, as others have already mentioned, Sri Rupa Goswami, that if we read them, tears will come to our eyes. Just even if we don't completely understand all of the high moods that are taking place, we can feel that love that penetrates through the heart. I mean, the incredible potency of Sri Rupa Goswami's writings was inculcated in one of Srila Gurudev's paragraphs. Just one, there's many, but I wanted to read this one because it struck me as something that even the inanimate or adamant, but very not on the human platforms appreciate. So Srila Gurudev said, when Srila Rupa Goswami would sit in his bhajan kutir at Terkadamba in Nandagram, Vrindavan, and write about the pangs of separation that Sri Radha and Sri Krishna felt for one another, the leaves of the Kadamba tree would fall off, just like tears running down the face of someone in pain. And when Sri Rupa wrote about Radha and Krishna's ecstatic, loving reunion, that overjoyed the Kadamba tree immediately sprouted new leaves and blossoming flowers. By the mercy of a pure Vaishnava like Sri Rupa Goswami, this Kadamba tree could understand and appreciate the intimate and confidential subject matters which remain beyond our comprehensions. Srila Gurudev. Rupa Goswami had such an effect because his love was so strong and it permeated, and Lord Chaitanya empowered him. So wherever Lord Chaitanya would go, that they would become devotees. But we also can see whatever endeavors that Sri Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, also devotees were being made. And their concept of, giving us the mercy of putting down their bhajan experiences, their samadhi bhas experiences in writing between Rupa and Raghunath, Sanatan, Jiva, and others, and later Vishwanath Chakravarti and others that, in our line, they have given us the jewel of love of God at our fingertips that we've never been able to read or hear or respond to. Otherwise, who would know about this if it wasn't for our Guru Varga, if it wasn't for Gurudev, wasn't for Prabhupada and our Guru Varga that spent, buckets of blood, Srila Gurudev used to tell me, buckets of blood to be able to, write this these things down for the benefit of all the devotees that will come. So sometimes in our old age, as now we're getting long in the tooth, that we neglect to have that strong prayer to our Guru Varga and to Sri Rupa Goswami to please somehow place us as an atom of your lotus feet, so that we may be able to serve in it, and in turn, perhaps someday at some future life in some future universe, that we'll get a chance to actually serve personally to Rupa Goswami and the Swamini Srimati Radhika. Who would ever take that? Those of us, born in the hippie and the revolutionary moods of the 60s, 50s, 60s, like whatever, would have such an opportunity to perfect their life simply by hearing the transcendental pastimes and associating with Shri Guru and chanting the holy name. So very grateful in that regard. And I think there's another verse that he established. I was thinking when he established the Govinda deities, which is, there's a Pratibhu deity in Vrindavan, but the original deities, so beautiful, are also in Jaipur. So one of his things was to install deities in temples. And there's a verse in Bhakti Ratnakar by Srinivasacharya. By Srinivasacharya, that describes the beauty of Rupa Goswami's beloved Govinda deity. So I want to read it because maybe we're not so advanced to actually see Krishna personally and to have his Spurti Darshan. But here, by reading this, we can hear the feelings that Radharani had. So, having seen the incomparable beauty of Sri Govinda, Sri Radhika begins describing it to her Sakis. Who has sculptured that moon-like face? And who has sculptured those two lotus eyes? Only my heart knows how I feel when I see him. Who has shaped his earrings, cut carefully in gems? My mind is fixed on them. His nose pearl, surrounded by a golden ring, looks like a moon-like white flower, surrounded by lightning and smiling from behind some blue clouds. His forehead is decorated with sandal tilak and beautiful mind-enchanting designs. He shines within my heart, yet my heart aches, being incapable of beholding his beautiful face to my full satisfaction. If God had given me the power, I could continually enjoy his sweet voice. His arms are stronger than the trunks of elephants, and my youthful body longs for the touch of his fingers. His graceful movements rival the gait of a maddened elephant. He is an ocean of beauty. So, by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the mercy of our Guru Varga, our own Shiksha and Diksha gurus, and by the mercy of his followers, Vishwanath Chakravarti, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Prabodhananda Saraswati, and so many of those devotees in recent time of followers of Bhaktisiddhanta as well, that we offer our Dandavat Pranams, to even be allowed into the practicing association of such a highly developed philosophy of love, which can actually save the human race, especially during this time where we see an increase of demonism and asurism and atheism. All these things are increasing day by day. And the method for destroying that is spreading this philosophy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I pray somehow or other that all of the devotees take this to heart, and somehow or other, according to whatever little abilities that we have, we engage somehow in trying to please our Guru Varga and Sri Rupa Goswami, and ultimately Srimati Radhika, by doing whatever we can to help spread this philosophy, this love relationship to other jivas who are suffering in this material world, not knowing the solution to become happy. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatibhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namah. I feel especially important for me to say, Srila Gurudev told me that when I told him he commanded me to read these Rasa Tattva literatures, and I wasn't, and I'm not still qualified. But he said that Rupa Goswami will personally help me understand them. So I pray that in some point, future life, or whatever I may please, our Srila Gurudev, that Srila Rupa Goswami will please help me, to become a devotee and be able to understand his devotional concepts. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for such a heartfelt feeling reminder of what a special, rare privilege it is to come in touch with our acharyas and this practice of bhakti in the line of Rupa Goswami. So we very much appreciate your presentation.
Badara, before you go on, I'm just going to mute everybody and then unmute you because we're getting some disturbance on the line. Okay, I've asked you to unmute, Badara.
Okay, so I'm now unmuted. Yeah, it is a bit of a housekeeping to run around and make sure that everyone's mic is muted. Thanks for doing that. Once again, thank you, Mahabodhi Prabhu, for a really inspiring presentation. I want to now invite Sripad Bhaktivedanta Bhagavat Maharaj to take the floor and speak. You have half an hour, Maharaj, to speak. So please, the room is yours. Can you unmute your... Okay, there you are. Okay.
All right. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dhanava pranams to all the Vaishnavas. So nice to have the opportunity to glorify Srila Rupa Goswami to all the great Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are present here on this call today. Om Jnanatimirandasya Galanjana Salakaya Chaksuran Militanyena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manabhistam Stabhitanyena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Karamaya Dadanti Swapadanti. Come. I offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of my Diksha and Shiksha Guru, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupada Satara Satasi Simad Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of my Shiksha and Sannyas Guru, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Asatara Satasi Simad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of my two Shiksha Gurus, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupada Satara Satasi Simad Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharti Goswami Maharaj. And I offer my humble obeisances unto the lotus feet of the Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada, and Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji and Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And again, I offer my obeisances at the feet of all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are out there listening today. Am I loud enough, Budara? Can you hear me? Everything okay?
Everything is a-okay, loud and clear, Maharaj. Thank you.
Okay. So today I'm going to speak about Srila Rupa Goswami in Puri. This is my favorite topic. I've talked about it every year. And I hope everyone will enjoy hearing the conversation. Srila Rupa Goswami was in Puri during the came to Puri during Chaturmas. Excuse me. He was living in Vrindavan, writing his books under the guidance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he walks from Vrindavan to Puri. On the way, while he's walking, when he's in Bengal, he's actually walking with his younger brother Anupam, who is Jiva Goswami's father. So on the way, while he's walking, when they arrive in Bengal, Anupama suddenly dies. And when Anupam dies, he's buried there in Bengal. And then Rupa Goswami continues on his way to Puri. And while he's on his way to Puri, he's in the evening, he approaches one village that's just a few hours away from Puri called Satyabhamapur, and he thought, I'll sleep here for the night, and then I will continue on to Puri tomorrow in the morning when it's daylight. So while he's sleeping there in Satyabhamapur, he has this dream, because he had been writing this one huge play about all of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka. So what happens in the dream, this beautiful celestial lady, who is understood to be Satyabhama, tells Srila Rupa Goswami that you should write two separate books. One about the pastimes of Krishna in Mathura and Dwarka, and one about the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. And so Rupa Goswami takes that instruction from her, and he meditates on it while he's walking to Puri the next day. When he arrives in Puri, he stays immediately with Haridas Thakur. This is the mood of Rupa Goswami. His mood is that because, even though I was born in a Brahmin family, because I lived and worked with the Muslim king, the Nawab, Hussein Nawab Shah, I've become contaminated. I've become like a Muslim. Therefore, I'm not fit to stay with the other devotees, the other Vaishnavas. I should stay with Haridas Thakur, who's a Muslim by birth. And so out of his pure humility, his pure sense of Trinada Pisunichena, he goes to stay with Haridas Thakur, who lives in a converted tool shed in the back of Kashi Mishra's house, where Mahaprabhu is staying in Gambhira. So Mahaprabhu shows up before in the morning, and Rupa Goswami offers his obeisances along with Haridas Thakur, and then Haridas Thakur points to Rupa Goswami on the floor and tells Mahaprabhu Rupa Goswami has come to Puri to see you. Mahaprabhu blesses him. He's very happy that he's come. And then at that time, Mahaprabhu is speaking with him about the books that he's writing indirectly. He doesn't address it and say, in this book, you should do this. But on the next day, when he comes to see Rupa Goswami, the omniscient Lord speaks with him as follows: do not try to take Krishna out of Vrindavan, for he does not go anywhere else at any time. The Krishna known as Yadu Kumar is Vasudev Krishna. He is different from the Krishna who is the son of Nanda Maharaj. Yadu Kumar Krishna manifests his pastimes in the cities of Mathura and Dwarka. But Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, never at any time leaves Vrindavan. After saying this, Mahaprabhu decided to go and now perform his noontime duties, taking bath, doing anak, etc. And he left Rupa Goswami, somewhat surprised by all of this. And Rupa Goswami started thinking, Satyabhama ordered me to write 2 different dramas. She came in the dream and she ordered him. And now I understand that this order has been confirmed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So now I shall write 2 separate invocations for good fortune, and 2 different introductions. So I have to think very deeply on the matter and describe 2 different sets of incidents. So this is the position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Srila Rupa Goswami, and how they used to communicate with each other. And Rupa Goswami was now deeply in thought about how to express these dramas about Krishna in the 2 different modes, in the 2 different arenas of Mathura, Dwarka, and Vrindavan. Meanwhile, the Rath Yatra came and they performed the Rath Yatra. And the Rath Yatra was beautifully performed. Mahaprabhu had 7 different singing parties, chanting parties. And each party had 14 mridungas, 7 mridungas and 14 kartals. I got it backwards. 7 mridungas and 14 kartals. And there was 1 singer, lead singer, and 1 dancer. And Mahaprabhu appeared in each one of the chanting parties simultaneously, as if it was like in Rath Yatra, when he appeared with each different gopi, he was simultaneously appearing in every one of the chanting parties. And of course, Rup Damodar could see this, and Srila Rupa Goswami, by the mercy of the Lord, was able to see this manifestation of mercy by Mahaprabhu. And then what happened was, Mahaprabhu kept singing a song which appeared by all who listened to it a kind of mundane song. Of course, he is not, everything that the Lord does is transcendental, it's not mundane. But in this particular case, the song that he was singing was a popular song that was sung by people concerning the longing of a lover for her beloved. And so he sang this song, and Rupa Goswami could understand the inner meaning of this song. So the song in Sanskrit is Ya Kumara Hara Sa Eva Hi Varastha Eva Chaitra Shapas Te Kon Milita Malati Surabaya Prauda Kadamban Nila. Sachayvamsi tatapi tatra surata vyapara lila vidao. Reva rodasi vetasi taru. Kale cheta samut antate. That very personality who stole my heart during my youth is now again my master. These are the same moonlit nights of the month of Chaitra, the same fragrance of malati flowers there, and the same sweet breezes are blowing from the Kadamba forest. In our intimate relationship, I am the same lover, and yet, still, my mind is not happy here. I am eager to go back to that place on the bank of the Reva River under the Vetasi tree. That is my desire. So Rupa Goswami meditated on this beautiful prayer, this song, very sweet song, and he could understand that there was some deeper inner meaning to all of this concerning Radharani's meeting with Mahaprabhu, meeting with Krishna at the Dwarka and at Kurukshetra. This is what, of course, the Rath Yatra is about, how Krishna is coming to Vrindavan. And so when Radharani meets with Krishna at Kurukshetra and then brings him to Vrindavan on the cart, she has certain feelings of union and separation simultaneously. And so she expresses these moods. And of course, Rupa Goswami being Srila Rupa Manjari, Rupa Manjari wants to express the exact meaning of these feelings. And so Rupa Goswami wrote this beautiful poem explaining that verse and the inner meaning of that verse, which was at the heart of Mahaprabhu's feelings when he was expressing that song, which appeared to others as a mundane song. And so when he wrote it out on the palm leaf, he took the palm leaf and just inserted it, slid it into the thatched roof of the hut where he and Haridas were sleeping. And then he went to take bath, and Mahaprabhu came back from his bath and he saw that palm leaf and he pulled it out and he read it and he was in complete shock. So now let's read what Rupa Goswami wrote that affected the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Priyaso yam Krishna sahachari kuru kshetra militas. Tataham sa radha tadidam ubayo sangama. Who did that? don't flash things on the screen. Sangama sukam. Tatapyanta kelam madura morali panchama jushe. Mano me kalindi pulina vipinaya spriyati. My dear friend, now I have met my very old and dear friend Krishna on the field of Kurukshetra. I am the same Radharani, and now we are meeting together. It is very pleasant, but I would still like to go back to the bank of the Yamuna beneath the trees of the forest there. I wish to hear the vibration of his sweet flute playing the fifth note within that forest of Vrindavan. And so in this way, we see how Rupa Goswami captures the essence of the meaning of that prayer that Mahaprabhu was singing. And now, having captured the essence of that mood, he has written it down, and Mahaprabhu, reading it, nearly faints in ecstasy from reading it because it is so profoundly descriptive of his understanding of his heart And so no one could possibly understand that. And Swarup Damodar, he knew the purpose why the Lord had recited the verse. But Rupa Goswami, however, could also understand it. And that's why he wrote this verse in order to express the meaning. And that's when the Lord asked, how could Rupa Goswami have understood my heart after reading this verse? And he shows it to Swarup Damodar for him to examine it also. And Swarup Damodar says to Lord Chaitanya that no one could otherwise understand this meaning. I can therefore guess that previously you bestowed your causeless mercy upon Rupa Goswami. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very happy to see Rupa Goswami. And this is why we sing this prayer, Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam, that Rupa Goswami has understood the heart, the Manobhishta, the mission of Mahaprabhu. He has understood his heartmost desire. And so this is expressed in this particular prayer. So Swarup Damodar is very amazed. He says, as soon as I saw the unique composition of this verse, I could immediately understand that you had bestowed your special mercy upon. So then what happens is the Lord comes again to see Rupa Goswami and Haridas Thakur the next day. And when he comes to see them, the Lord inquires about, what kind of book are you writing? And that's when the Lord, Rupa Goswami holds up the palm leaf. He shows him the palm leaf, and he starts to describe to him this verse that he has written in the book. And it's a completely amazing verse. Tande tanda viniratim vitanute tundavali labhaye karna kroda kadambini gatayate karna bud de bayas priham cheta prangana sangani vijayate sarvendriyanam kritim no jane janita kia bir amritai krishneti varna dwai. So the meaning of this prayer in English, I do not know how much nectar the two syllables Krishna have produced. When the holy name of Krishna is chanted, it appears to dance within the mouth. We then desire many, many mouths. When that name enters the holes of our ears, we desire many millions of ears. And when the holy name dances in the courtyard of the heart, it conquers the activities of the mind, and therefore all the senses become inert. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chanted this verse, Haridas Thakur, upon hearing the vibration, became jubilant and began to dance while praising its meaning. So in this way, Rupa Goswami was very pleasing to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by his behavior, and very inspiring great happiness in the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And now, Rupa Goswami writing something so pleasing to the Lord decided to bring all of his friends to come and hear Rupa Goswami recite verses from his book. And so he comes the next day with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Ramananda Roy. And the Lord begins to praise the transcendental qualities of Srila Rupa Goswami, explaining to them the glories of his talents and the characteristics. And so at this point, Mahaprabhu asks Rupa Goswami to recite. They give him a seat. They make a platform for him to sit on, a raised platform. And then Rupa Goswami and Haridas Thakur and others sit at the feet of Mahaprabhu. And then Swarup Damodar recites the verse that Rupa Goswami wrote about the song that Mahaprabhu was singing at the Rath Yatra, my dear friend, now I have met my very old and dear friend Krishna on the field of Kurukshetra. I am the same Radharani, and now we are meeting together. It is very pleasant, but I would still like to go to the bank of the Yamuna beneath the trees of the forest there. I wish to hear the vibration of his sweet flute playing the fifth note within the forest of Vrindavan. So after hearing this verse, now Ramananda Roy and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya tell Mahaprabhu that without your special mercy, how could this Rupa Goswami have understood your mind and heart? And Sri Ramananda Roy said that previously Mahaprabhu had empowered his heart so that he could express elevated and conclusive statements to which even Lord Brahma had not any access. But then Mahaprabhu said that he explained, he said, yes, when I met Rupa Goswami there in Prayag, I considered him a fit candidate and I bestowed him with my mercy. Then Mahaprabhu asked Rupa Goswami that I want you to please recite from your drama, which upon being heard make all people unhappiness and lamentation go away. So the Lord persisted in asking this again and again, and finally Rupa Goswami recited the verse about Krishna, the two syllables of Krishna. I do not know how much nectar the two syllables of Krishna have produced. And when all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially Ramananda Roy, heard this verse, they were filled with transcendental bliss and they were struck with wonder. So everyone admitted that although they had heard many statements glorifying the holy name of the Lord, they had never heard such a sweet description as those of Rupa Goswami. So now Ramananda Roy, who was an expert at dramas and natika, dances, etc., because he used to train the Devdasis, the dancing girls who were dancing in the Puri temple for Lord Jagannath. He wanted to know from Rupa Goswami, what kind of drama are you writing? What are you describing here? And Rupa Goswami begins to explain. First, actually, it was Swarup Damodar who replied for Rupa Goswami. He said that Rupa wanted to compose a drama about the pastimes of Lord Krishna, and he planned to describe all of them in one book, the pastimes of Vrindavan and those of Dwarka and Mathura. He began in that way, but now following the order of Mahaprabhu, he's divided into two books. The two plays are called Vidagdha Madhava and Lalita Madhava. Both of them wonderfully describe ecstatic, emotional love of Godhead. So Ramananda Roy said, please recite the introductory verse of Vidagdha Madhava so that I can examine it. Thus, Srila Rupa Goswami, being ordered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, recited the verse. And so this verse is also a very famous verse. Sudanam Chandranim Api Madhuri Manomada Damani Dadana Radhadi pranaya gana sarai sura bitam samantat tanto Skantapo Gama Vishama Samsara Sarani Pranitam Te Trishnam Haratu Hari Lila Sikarini. So now this verse in English, may the pastimes of Sri Krishna reduce the miseries existing in the material world and nullify all unwanted desires. The pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are like shikarini, a blend of yogurt and sugar candy. They overpower the pride of even the nectar produced on the moon, where they distribute the sweet fragrance of the concentrated loving affairs of Srimati Radharani and the gopis. So then Ramananda Roy said, okay, now I want you to recite the description of the glories of your worshipable deity. And Rupa Goswami thus recited a verse explaining the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his worshipable deity, a most famous verse that we quote quite often in lectures. Anarpita charim charat karunavatirna kala samarpayitam unot ujvalarasa swabhakti sriyam Hari Purata Sundara Duty Kadamba Sandi Pita Sadaridaye Kandare Spurata Va Sachinandana. And this verse in English is, may the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi, be transcendently situated in the innermost core of your heart, resplendent with the radiance of molten gold. He has descended in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before, the most elevated mellow of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. All the devotees present they greatly appreciated the verse which was expressed by Srila Rupa Goswami, and they expressed their gratitude to Srila Rupa Goswami for this beautiful transcendental recitation. So now Ramananda Roy, following along the line of trying to understand the structure and progression of the play, asked, how have you introduced the assembly of players? When the entrance of the actors is set in motion by the arrival of a suitable time, the entrance is called pravartaka. So then he recites this verse, springtime had arrived, and the full moon of that season inspired the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is complete in everything, with new attraction to meet the beautiful Srimati Radharani at night to increase the beauty of their pastimes. So in this way, we see that Rupa Goswami is describing these beautiful pastimes of Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world in Goloka. Then Ramananda Roy asked him to recite the Prarochana portion so that I may hear and examine it. The devotees now present are constantly thinking of the Supreme Lord and therefore are highly advanced. This work, named Vidagdha Madhava, depicts the characteristic pastimes of Lord Krishna with decorations of poetic ornaments. And the inner grounds of the forest of Vrindavan provide a suitable platform for the dancing of Krishna with the gopis. Therefore, I think that the pious activities of persons like us who have tried to advance in devotional service has now attained maturity. So now Rupa Goswami recites, O learned devotees, I am by nature ignorant and lowborn. Yet even though it is from me that the Vidagdha Madhava has come, it is filled with descriptions of transcendental attributes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, will not such literature bring about the attainment of the highest goals of life? although its wood may be ignited by a low-class man, fire can nevertheless purify gold. Similarly, although I am very low by nature, this book may help cleanse the dirt from within the hearts of the golden devotees. To just see the beauty of Rupa Goswami's profound humility, Trinadapi Sunichena, and how he's making these beautiful expressions of his humble state of consciousness in trying to express the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Vidagdha Madhava. And all of this is very pleasing to Sri Ramananda Roy and Swarup Damodar and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and all the exalted devotees who are listening to the Katha. So now Rupa Goswami informs Ramananda Roy about everything that he asked, all these questions. And hearing his explanations, all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are struck with wonder. Experiencing previous attachment to Krishna, Purva Raga, Srimati Radhika thinks, since I have heard the name of a person called Krishna, I have practically lost my good sense. Then there is another person who plays his flute in such a way that after I hear the vibration, intense madness arises in my heart. And again, there is still another person to whom my mind becomes attached when I see his beautiful lightning-like effulgence in his picture. Therefore, I think that I am greatly condemned, for I have become simultaneously attached to 3 persons. It would be better for me to die because of this. My dear friend, these palpitations of Srimati Radharani's heart are extremely difficult to cure. Even if one applied some medical treatment, it would only end in defamation. Oh, dearly beautiful one, the artistic loveliness of your picture is now impressed within my mind. Since you are now living within my mind, wherever I wish to run because I am agitated by impressions of you, I find that you, oh my friend, are blocking my way. Upon seeing peacock feathers in front of her, this girl suddenly begins trembling. When she sometimes sees a necklace of gunja, small conch shells, she sheds tears and cries loudly. I do not know what kind of new ecstatic influence has entered the heart of this poor girl. It has imbued her with the dancing attitude of a player, creating wonderful, unprecedented dances on stage. Srimati Radharani said to her constant companion Vishaka, my dear friend, if Krishna is unkind to me, there will be no need for you to cry, for it will not be due to any fault of yours. I shall then have to die. But afterwards, please do one thing for me. To observe my funeral ceremony, place my body with its arms embracing a tamal tree, like creepers, so that I may remain forever in Vrindavan undisturbed. That is my last request.
Maharaj,
Yes.
sorry to ask at this really
It's time for me to end.
it's sensitive juncture, but could you get draw to a close at some point?
Okay. So as we can see, Rupa Goswami is completely delighting all of the great devotees who are sitting there at his hut along with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, listening to the glories of Vidagdha Madhava and giving great pleasure to both Mahaprabhu and these devotees by reciting these beautiful verses and these pastimes. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Chaitanya, is very pleased, and Srila Rupa Goswami has fulfilled the purpose of his life as a devotee by pleasing the Lord, by writing this transcendental literature. So these are some of the pastimes of Srila Rupa Goswami and Jagannath Puri. These are some of the beautiful discussions from his transcendental books. And I please beg your excuse for me for any mistake that I made in trying to present the glories of Rupa Goswami and Puri. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Jai Sri Radhe.
Jai Maharaj, thank you so much for that. And yes, apologies to everybody for having to ask Maharaj to draw it to a close. I'm sure you could have gone on for a while and deepened the subject even further. But I'm under strict instructions from the Zoom Acharya. So apologies to everyone. Thank you so much, Maharaj. What a wonderful exposition. You really painted the picture very nicely. And I'd like to now invite Radhakanti Dasi Didi to come and speak for half an hour, and then to draw the program to a close with a kirtan. So is Radhakanta Didi in the audience somewhere? I don't know if she's here.
Here.
RK, oh yeah, there you are. Okay, thank you. Over to you, Didi. Thank you.
Nanda pranams. Ajnanatimirandasya gyananjana shalakaya chakshurumilitam jena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Vandeham Shri Guruvaram Shri Rupanuga Pravaram Brajarasa Rasikam Chanarayanam Tam Prapanam Shri Guru Charanam Bande Ramana Prestaya Bhutale Rupanuga Bhaktirams Chakri Pamurti Narayan Namashastam Manumapi Sachiputra Matra Swarupam Rupam Tasya Grayana Rupuri Maturim Gostavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramahora Hikamadavasyam Rakto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Guru Tamnatoshmi Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tararaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tara Bhaktaya Namo. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haritem. Anarpita Charinchirat Karune Vachanakalo Samapajitum Unuto Chvalarasam Sobhaktusham Hari Purata Sundari Duti Kadamba Sankita Sada Hridayo Kandares Puratu Bhasa Chimantanaham Chichaitanya Manovistam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamahyam Darati Soparamikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shavaita Gadadhar Shivasri Gaura Bhaktavinda Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvyacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo. First of all, I would like to offer my humble obeisance, says millions of times to the lotus feet of my divine spiritual master Nitya Leela praised Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Astutara Shattu Shishimat Bhaktivedanta Goswami Guru Maharaj, and I pray for his causeless mercy. Also, I want to offer unlimited Danda pranams to all my spiritual guardians and to all the Guru Parampara, to all the Rupanuga Guru Varga, and I pray for their mercy. To all the devotees here, I offer my Danda pranams. So today I was invited to speak something about Rupa Goswami. Although I'm not qualified at all, I really am not. For my own purification, then I accepted to speak something. Like 15 years ago, I got a letter from Srila Gurudev. Although I was living in Vrindavan for many years, I had to come here. And he said, that very soon the festivities of Rupa Goswami and Julan Yatra and also Balaram Punim are going to come. So I want you to speak what you have heard from me, what you have learned all these years, and then you will understand that I'm always in your heart. So he specifically asked me to speak about this. So for this reason, I am now speaking about, I want to speak about this. So I want to speak what I heard from Gurudev, because we used to observe with Srila Gurudev this disappearance day in Vrindavan. Although I lived in Vrindavan and Srila Gurudev in Mathura, he would come for Julan Yatra, and that was like the best time of the whole year, I think, because it was summer and all the smell of the flowers everywhere. And that week in Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Math was extraordinary with Srila Gurudev. It was amazing. The Julan was very, very sweet, very simple in Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Math. Then Rasananda Prabhu, Sridhar Maharaj now, he brought so many things to build this very opulent swing. But before it was very, very simple, very simple. And it took 1 month to build this swing that they use still up to today. So Gurudev at 5 o'clock sharp, he would be standing in front of the altar, and then they would give him the deities and he would put him in the swing and he would start swinging. And then everybody would sing, Jule Jule Radha Damodara Vrindavan, this song. And then he would sit and he would speak. And it was, I'm telling you, this was the best week of the whole year living in Vrindavan. That week in Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Math with Srila Gurudev. And there he invited all the great acharyas from all the Gaudiya Maths to speak for 3 days on this conference of Rupa Goswami. And I remember that there used to be such amazing pandits reciting Sanskrit. I was so impressed. I was like, what is this? The way they would speak, even the small disciples. And Srila Gurudev was so happy because they knew all the scriptures of Rupa Goswami by heart. And Gurudev would encourage them and give them bhakti in their hearts and also correct them if something was wrong. So this is a very good memory. And I want to repeat like what I heard from Srila Gurudev. Because exactly at 6 o'clock in the morning, he would take us around 6 o'clock every year. He would take us to the Samadhi of Rupa Goswami. And there he would take us at the feet of the Samadhi of Rupa Goswami, and he would do archan, and then he would deeply meditate, and he asked for the Yankali Rupa Sariya Nadarata song to be sung. So probably everybody already spoke this, but anyhow, this is what Srila Gurudev, like he ordered me. You should speak what you've learned from me. So Gurudev started, after singing this song, he would explain every year this song. He would say, if Rupa Goswami had not come to this world, Jankali Rupa Sariyana Taraka Tandraja Prema Mahanidhi Kutarika, if Rupa Goswami had not come into this world, who would have opened that treasure chest? So here, Gurudev is saying that Mahaprabhu's moods are so deep, so deep. He's so grave that nobody could actually understand what he was tasting. Nobody could understand the deep, deep moods that he was experiencing, this prem ras, prem ras and the asvadam, that he was tasting this prema. So nobody could understand. He was like a treasure chest, very closed and very locked. Nobody could understand, really, what Mahaprabhu came to give, except he left this key of this treasure chest to Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami, he opened this treasure chest, and then he took out all these jewels of Braj Prem, and he distributed them to the world. Without Rupa Goswami, we would have not known what was Mahaprabhu coming to give to this world, this Unato Chalarasa. So then he says, if it wasn't from him, how could we know? Then Gurudev says, Niraksiraham Sarapana Vitayana Komprita Koripayatam So Savatyage Paja Vrindavan So Sava Kranta Virachita. So then this is really beautiful. Then Gurudev describes that Srila Rupa Goswami, he's like a hamsa, like a swan. And the swan is the only one which is like an emblem of discrimination. He can discriminate, he can separate. So only Rupa Goswami was able, like a swan, that the swan can separate the milk from the water. So only Rupa Goswami was able to separate. And he separated, for example, all the language that Rupa Goswami brought to this world that wasn't existent in this world so that we could understand what is Braja. It didn't exist. So he explained the different rasas. He explained what is Shanta Rasa, what is Shanta Ras, what is Dasya Ras, and in Vaikuntha, how they're doing this pure Shanta, pure Dasa, but not in Braj, and how there's Sakya Ras, the friendship, and Vatsalya Ras, this mother and father affection, love and affection for Krishna. And he was separating, explaining all the rasas. Then he explained what is Vatsalya Ras, what is Madhurya Ras, the highest of all. He explained what is Madhurya Ras, and he explained even in Madhurya Ras, there's differences. There is, for example, the Wevet, like married, Sokhiya Bhav, and there's the Parakhiya Bhav. So he explained this very, very in detail. Otherwise, we wouldn't have known these things. And also, especially in Madhurya Ras, he explained the difference between the Sambhogi Chamai, which are the Sakis, like Lalita, Vishaka, Tunga, Vikanduleka, Rangadevi, that they meet independently with Krishna, or the Satadvavi Chamai, the Tinkaris, the Manjaris that don't meet with Krishna, but through Radhika, because they're one with the heart of Radhika, they're Tadatmika. Then through her, they can encounter this divine love. So this is Rupa Goswami explaining all this. Without him, how would he know this? All the rasas. And also, for example, if it wasn't for Rupa Goswami, who would have separated what is bhakti? Anya Vilashita Shunyam Gyana Kadvanyanavitam Adapudena Krishnanuchiranam Bhakti Rutam. Srila Gurudev a million times described. He described what bhakti is not. He rejected what bhakti is not, the impure types of bhakti. For example, Anya Vilashita Shunyan. Gyanakat, this is the Lakshan, the extrinsic characteristics of bhakti. What bhakti is not means it is not covered by Gyan, it's not covered by yoga, it's devoid of all material desires. Anya Vilashita Shunyan, completely devoid of all desires. So this is what bhakti is not. And then what bhakti really is, he described. Anukulyana Krishna Nusiranam Bhakti Rutam. Anukul means it should be favorable for Krishna. And this is the real definition of bhakti. It is Swarup Lakshana, the intrinsic characteristics of bhakti. What bhakti really is. It is favorable for Krishna, and it is Krishna Anushilam continuously. It doesn't have any interruption, like the honey flow. Always flowing. This is the definition of Uttama Bhakti. He described what are the different types of bhakti which are not bhakti. Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, Aropsita Bhakti, Sangasita Bhakti, all these mixtures of bhakti, which is not transcendental pure bhakti, which is Swarup Sthiti Bhakti. This only Srila Rupa Goswami was able to give, to separate, to teach us. Otherwise, we wouldn't know. What are the different types of bhakti? And also in bhakti, he explained. Even there, he separated like the swan, separating milk from water. Even there, he separated in Swarup Siddhi Bhakti. He described that there's Sadhana Siddha Bhakti, first the practice, then there's Bhava Bhakti, and then there is Prema Bhakti. he explained the three types different. So without Rupa Goswami, how would we know these things? We wouldn't know. Just like, I'm thinking like Einstein, he came and he had to invent a whole mathematic system for people to understand what he was trying to explain. So Srila Rupa Goswami, he had to write this whole language that didn't exist. He invented it for us to understand what is every single thing. For example, well, also then we'll get to prema. Then after prema, he's explaining what is prema. Not only prema, no, priti. So when priti becomes very elated, then it becomes rati. And that rati exists only to the level of shantaras. Then he explained, becomes prema. Prema is different. Prema, sneha, man, pranaya, raga, anurag, bhav, mahabhav, all these levels of prem. Srila Gurudev was always explaining this. And he explained, Srila Gurudev, for example, prema. He would give the definition of prema is that even if there is a cause for this prema, this love to break, it never breaks. It increases more and more and more. So Srila Gurudev gave the example of, for example, couples in this world. Oh, I love you forever until death make us apart. But the truth is, if anybody is unfaithful, then that is broken. Then the woman would put a court case, and then he would go with a pension and all this. So there's no real love, because it's always based on exploitation. If I give you, you give me. If you don't give me, then goodbye. So this is not love. But then he gives the example Srimati Radhika, that although Krishna, he married, he didn't leave her for one. He married 16,108 queens. But what happened? Did her love diminish? No. It increased more and more and more and more and more. More and more. As a matter of fact, that is the definition that Rupa Goswami gives of prema. What is this verse? Vidurapi karanam sada vivritim guru rapi guravat charana muhurupachito pakrimato shudo jayati muradushi radhika anuraga. All glories to the anurag, to the love that Radhika has for Krishna, the killer of the demon Mura. And then he says, Vidurapi, that although her love is completely full, it's all pervading, and there's no space for expansion. Nevertheless, it is always increasing and increasing. Vidur, it's always increasing. Although her love is gurur, it's so famous, so important. It's devoid of all pride. And although her love is muhurupachito bakri shudo, it's completely pure and spotless. Although her love is like this, is beset with bakri. It's always crooked. So Jayati Murodishi Radhika Anuraga. Rupa Goswami is telling. So in these levels of prema, sneha. Sneha is that level in which when Radha and Krishna meet, actually there's different orders sometimes, but sometimes Radhika is in man. Man, when she's angry, jealous with Krishna, doesn't want to see him, but this gives so much pleasure to Krishna and also to her. Therefore, even when she's in man with Krishna, she has to bite her lip because she's smiling because there's so much happiness. But she has to control, but it gives so much happiness to her. Man. And that is that's an obstacle they cannot meet. Although she wants so much, they cannot because of man. But then they start, sneha means melting. Radhika starts to cry, Krishna starts to cry, they start to sweat so much, like melting the man, the anger. And then they can meet. And Srila Gurudev one time very beautifully explained pranaya. So beautiful in Badr one time. He said, pranaya is that level where Radha and Krishna meet and they forget their identity. So they become one. And Radhika, all shyness goes away. So Radhika, she thinks, am I Krishna? No, am I Radha? No, I'm Radha. No, I'm Krishna. And Krishna thinks, am I Krishna? No, I'm Radha. No, I'm Krishna. No, I'm Radha. Gurudev explains, this is pranaya. They become one. There's no shyness at all. It is like if a person is in the bathroom naked in front of a mirror, that person doesn't feel any shyness because she thinks, I'm alone here. So this is the level of pranaya. They become one. They lose their separate identities. They become one. Or Gurudev gave the example of like a shadow. It's part of your body. It's part of you. It's a shadow. So in the same way, Radha and Krishna in pranaya, they lose their identity and become one. And I've been thinking, maybe this is the origin of the people wanting to become one with God, like Mayavadis, because this is originally in the heart of Krishna. And we have such a Tananda, like limited, infinitesimal, everything that Krishna has in our heart. So maybe there's the origin why they want to become one, because Radha and Krishna themselves become one. So then pranaya, rag, then rag is when, what was the definition of rag? I think I forgot. Wait, I wrote it here somewhere. Oh, rag. No. Yes, rag is when rag is, let me see. Oh, anurag is different. So rag, now I remember. Rag is when there's a cause for it to be a lot of suffering, but this actually gives happiness. Now remember, this is when, for example, Radhika is in Govardhan at midday, and she is in the mountain, and it's so hot. The stones are like fire, like coils, but she's standing there and she doesn't feel that burning because from a distance, she can see Krishna. So seeing Krishna at a distance gives her so much pleasure, so much happiness that even what is cause of big suffering becomes pleasure. So this is the level of rag. Then anurag, there's different types, but one is, for example, anurag is everything's new. They meet and they always think it's for the first time. Radhika says to Lalita, who is this? Who is this person? I'm so attracted to him, but who is he? I've never seen him before. And Lalita, come on, Radhika, you know this is Krishna. I don't know who he is. I've never seen him, but I just brought him to you. You're always farting upon his chest. No, don't say impossible words. I don't know this Krishna. This is real anurag. Always new, like they've never seen people, like they've never met. And then there's another level in anurag, which is that she desires to become an intimate object, like for example, the flute. And she criticizes the flute. Says, you have stolen our property. Though that is our property, the lips of Krishna, the nectar of his lips, this is our property. You have stolen it. And then she desires, how could I become a bamboo stick so that Krishna can always have me on his lips. So this is one of the characteristics of anurag. And there's this third one, which was, can't remember that one. There's three. Oh, of course, the very famous Prema Vaitshitya, where Srila Gurudev would always take us every year in Parikrama in Prem Sarovar, where Gurudev asked me when my son was 2.5 years old, you should give me your son. So I said, Gurudev, can I go to Prem Sarovar? I said, yeah, you can go. I said, where is it? In Golok Vrindavan. So would you take me, Gurudev? Very high price. Would you get, I said, your heart, my heart? He said, no, your son. I want your son. He was only 2.5 years old. And when he was 13, he literally took him away. And he told him, since you were a small boy, your mother offered you to me. And I was weeping, like, I didn't really offer him, but. So anyway, this Prem Sarovar, this is the place where Srimati Radhika is sitting at the lap of Krishna, and there's a bumblebee roaming around her feet, and she feels very disturbed because she's afraid that the bumblebee will bite her feet or sting her feet. So Krishna glances at Madhu Mangal, and he comes and takes the bee away. When he comes back, he says, I have sent that Madhusudan very far away, he will not come. So Madhusudan means bee who drinks the honey, but it's also name of Krishna. So Radhika started to become overwhelmed with separation from Krishna, start crying and crying, Krishna, and she's sitting on Krishna's lap. But she's suffering, she can't see Krishna, and Krishna, I'm here, and she's like crying and crying, then Krishna's crying also, all the gopis are crying, she faints, Krishna faints. So this is prema in the level of anurag, it's called prema vaichita. But Srila Gurudev explained that in this particular pastime, it is not in the level of anurag. Although this is a symptom of anurag, at this point it is Mahabhava manifest, because in Mahabhava, all the levels of prem manifest simultaneously. So this is what the Prema Vaichitya that Gurudev describes is in Mahabhava. So anyhow, this is what Rupa Goswami has, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't even know all these levels of prem. And even culminating in, Bhav, Mahabhav, Ruda, Adi Ruda, and then Mada, more than Natya Mahabhav, like this is Rupa Goswami. Without him, how would we know? And then it is said that he said, who would abandon everything? Who would have abandoned everything to go to do bhajan in Vrindavan? So Gurudev explains that Rupa Goswami, he was very rich. He was from an aristocratic family, but he left everything like leaving stool and came to Braj. And everybody was thinking, what is Goswami? They're like mad people. They're only wearing like a coping mat here and there. They don't even have a hut. People were thinking they're mad, but actually they're absorbed in Bhakti Ras in their hearts. They're tasting all this Ras. So they left everything. Srila Gurudev one time, he told, somebody said, actually it was Bhagavan Maharaj in Badger after a festival, he said something about renunciation, like order, like, the order of renunciation. And Gurudev said, you shouldn't use that term. You shouldn't say renunciation or renounce it, because sleeping in very big beds, eating such opulent food, this is not renunciation. Really, the only renunciation that exists is Raghunath Das Goswami. And he was completely, he is the embodiment of this. And even Mahaprabhu was not liking that he was eating some nice food, and he understood just by, hint, he could understand. So he started eating even when it was rejected by the cows. So Gurudev said, nobody can be like him. We shouldn't use that term, renounce it. We should use the term sannyasi. But what is really the meaning of sannyasi? Means a person who has gopi bhav in their hearts. Whoever has gopi bhav in the heart, that is sannyas. And then he gave the example of Rupa Goswami, that although he was wearing white, not saffron, but he's absorbed in gopi bhav. He's absorbed as Rupa Manjari in his heart. So anyway, he left everything. So when my first parikam, 1996 with Srila Gurudev, we went to Nandagaon. It was super extremely austere. After those years, it was not like that. Nobody could handle it. It was too much. But he turned to me and he says, I want that you should be like Rupa and Raghunath. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Rupa and Raghunath. I could not understand, but you should be like Rupa and Raghunath. You should live like Rupa. And then by his mystic power, he made me live in this terrible room in Braj, in this little room full of rats. And so the bathroom outside, ground floor bathroom, no water, had to pump. So austere, but this would give so much pleasure to Srila Gurudev. He was so pleased. He wanted us all to live like that. Really? He said, really, Rupa Nuga means following the footsteps of Rupa and Raghunath. This is not my case now. I'm living, like Western, but actually, this is really what Gurudev wanted us to be. And to be followed. Rupa Nuga means following Rupa Goswami. How Rupa and Raghunath lived in Braj. didn't even have a home for many years, not even a hut for such a long time. So we can still see some Babajis living like that, which are very extraordinary in Braj. They have so much bhakti, so much prem in their heart. And Gurudev really wanted us to be like that, to live in Vrindavan in that way. Not, even I remember when I first went to Gopinath Bhavan, and when I saw the first part of the construction, I said, oh my God, this is like Dwarka. I could never live here. Just imagine how Gurudev made us live. So simple. He had this power, Gurudev, to take away all your attachments and your vanity from your body. After, by making so many offenses, this and that, then again, this comes back. But I remember those first years in Braj, this is the speciality of Srila Gurudev. Really, he would make you completely detached from this type of life. So then, this is very beautiful. Then it says, who would have known, who would abandon everything to do bhajan in Vrindavan? So this is, who could have written such scriptures? This song, then, Jati tuvar pula, palata nana vidam, manoraji aravindam, somadukar vidupana kuka janaka vidyamana karibanda. He says, it is said that Rupa Goswami was like a bee. He was like a honey bee amid varieties of blossoming yellow forest flowers and mind enchanting lotuses. So Srila Gurudev explains that he was like a bee. There's so many flowers in Braj. Especially yellow means like the spring. And he would go like and taste flower and flower. But for example, the bee can take the pollen of the flowers. But so Rupa Goswami, that's what he was doing. He was sitting underneath different trees all over Braj Mandana, and he would sit, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Then he would fall in love, and then he would go in trance, and then he would see that pastime of that particular place. And then he would wake up from that trance, and he would record it in his writings. So it's like the bee, nobody can make honey. Like even the scientists and whoever, nobody can make the honey. Only the bee can make the honey. So Rupa Goswami, not only he was tasting the flower, the nectar. Like if we come, we want to taste the flower, we eat the flower. No, it tastes horrible. But the bee, well, some flowers are good, but the bee, he was taking the nectar and then converting it into honey. So not only he was tasting it, but he was distributing it. He was distributing it for others to taste it. So without Rupa Goswami, we couldn't have known how could we have known what he was actually tasting and then writing, revealing to the world. So, and he manifested all these places and all the leelas by sitting in different places and doing bhajan, and then the leela would manifest in his heart and he would record it. So, this is so amazing. Who could have known the art of drinking the nectar present, yet confined within these flowers? So, by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Mahaprabhu, without Mahaprabhu mercy, he couldn't have done. Many people think, Gurudev gives this two examples. For example, he says that Haridas Thakur, he was a great namacharya, 3 lakhs a day. And Rupa Goswami, it's not recorded anywhere that he chanted, 16 rounds, 1 lakh. It's not recorded what? So who is higher? Namacharya 3 lakhs or Rupa Goswami? But why? Because Rupa Goswami, he would just chant a little bit and then fall in trance, in bhav. And in that trance, he would see all the different places of Braj. And in this way, he manifested all the leelas of the different places of Braj by his bhajan. So it's so much higher than, for example, Namacharya Srilak Haridas Thakur. Not that he's not high, of course he's very high, but Rupa Goswami is so much higher. And then also Gurudev gives example of the servant of Mahaprabhu, Govinda Das, which is always serving the lotus feet, massaging him, cooking him every day. He's with him 24 hours a day. So could we say he's the closest to Mahaprabhu? But Gurudev says no. The closest was, actually, Gurudev said Gadadhar Pandit one time in Tota Gopinath. Very beautiful katha, but that's something else. But he said, it is Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami was never there with him. But Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutalam Swayam Rupam Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadam Tikam. That he understood the innermost heart desire of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Did he?
And finished?
Yashodananda Prabhu's asking me to suggest that at some point you wind up and bring us some kirtan. Maybe you've gone over by quite a few minutes. So, but I couldn't.
Oh, really?
I couldn't bear to interrupt you. Yeah, like probably by 10 minutes. But that's okay.
Oh my God! And I thought it was even not even like starting.
I just thought, well, if I don't interrupt you, then you'll go for another hour. And I think it's okay if everybody wants to stay, but I think that everyone probably wants to close up at some point.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, okay, so just the last thing. 5 minutes? 5?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. 5 minutes.
Just like to establish so much, but okay, to establish really, and probably everybody speaks this, but Gurudev asked me to speak what I've heard. So the importance of why he is actually the only one who knew the innermost heart desire of Mahaprabhu. And then we know this pastime in Gurudev explains in Ratha Yatra, where he is dancing Mahaprabhu, and he's always over and over saying this same verse. This verse, Mahaprabhu was over and over, and painting and painting. But nobody can understand what is this verse that he's speaking. Everybody says, why is he speaking this verse from mundane poetry, which is Sahita Darpana, Sanskrit mundane poetry? Why is Mahaprabhu saying over and over this verse? So the meaning of this verse is that there's a lady that when she was not married, she would meet with her boyfriend in a very hidden place under a tree in the river Reva, under the Betasi tree, and they would have very nice meetings. They were not married. So it was very exciting because it was forbidden. But now they're married. So she says, these are the same nights of the months of Chaitra. This is the same smell of the flowers, Malapi, the same breeze from Malaya is coming, but in our surata, in our loving encounters, he's the same. But I wish I could go back to that time when we first met. So Mahaprabhu was saying over and over this verse. Nobody could understand, no one. Only one person, Swarup Damodar. But one time when Mahaprabhu in Puri, he went to the little hut of who? Of Haridas Thakur. There, Rupa Goswami was taking bath in the ocean. And when Mahaprabhu came and he saw on the roof that writing, he took it out and he read it. Priya soham Krishna sahachari kurukshetra militas tataham sarada ubayo sangamazutam tapyanta kalam madura murali panchamarishe manumi kalindi purina vihinaya sprihaya. So Mahaprabhu said, how did he know my heart? When he read this verse, Rupa Goswami came, he embraced and cried, how did you know my heart? Priya soham sahachari kurukshetra. So this is the mood of Radharani in in Kurukshetra, in Ratha Yatra, Mahaprabhu's mood, he was saying, Radhika saying, I have found my very beloved Priyata, my love. Again here in Kurukshetra, Tataham Sarada, I'm the same Radha. Ubayo Sangama, and in our meeting, there's so much happiness. But Tatapyanta Kalam, but Anta, internally, I wish, my desire is to go back to the Manume Kalindi, to the river Jamuna, in the banks of the forest. There I could hear Madhura Panchama. Murali Madhura Panchama Dusha, the fifth note of the flute. So this is the mood of Mahaprabhu of Radharani. And when Rupa Goswami, when Mahaprabhu read this, he completely embraced it and cried and says, you understood my heart. And Swarup Damodar says, only someone who has received your mercy can actually know all these things. So this is, okay, no time is up. So this is the proof that actually only Rupa Goswami could understand the innermost heart desires of the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gaura Premanande.
Haribol, thank you so much for that. That was quite an exposition. So much energy and inspiration. You gave me a lot of hope listening to you. Thank you. Do you want to close out the program with a little kirtan?
Me.
Please, yeah.
Okay. Let me bring some cartons. Let me see what I can sing. Yeah, I'm going to turn off my video.
Okay.
Jayo Radhe, Jayo Jayo, Mata Patahi Te, Gokulata, Mata Te, Radhe Jayo Jayo, Mata Patahi Te, Radhe Jayo Jayo, Mata Patahi Te. Damodara Dati, Vardhana Hari Damodara Dati, Vardhana Hari Sakhi Guna, Krishna Panudati, Madana Vense, Ranita Sakhi Guna, Ranita Vishake, Savanudati, Ranita Sakhi Guna, Ranita Vishake, Radhe Jayo Jayo Mahaprabhu Saite, Radhe Jayo Jayo Mahaprabhu Saite, Karuna Karuna Sana Sana Tatari Radhe Karuna Guru Karunamari Janaka Janatana Tari Tatari Karunam Guru Karunamari
Bol Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Jai. Thank you so much for that was beautiful. Thank you. Radhe Radhe. And thank you everybody for coming. And I mean, you participated in such a blissful exchange of Harikatha by so many great speakers, really uplifted. And I look forward to meeting you all back here tomorrow at the same time, 6 p.m. GMT. So we'll go again for about 3.5 hours tomorrow, and then also the following day. So Ekadashi tomorrow here. So we look forward to seeing you all. With your permission, I'm going to close the room and close the live streaming, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.